Hello, listening people.
Hello.
You are listening to Spin Polish Presents Unappreciated Masterpieces. I'm Ryan Sliwinski.
Bartek.
No last name for Bartek, as it always has been. You are now listening to Spin Polish Presents in 2017, I hope. I mean, unless you've listened to this episode somehow in 2016, or 2018, 19, 20, I don't know, but we're recording this. This is our first episode in the new year. So, Happy New Year, everyone.
Yep. First Thursday of the new year, too.
Oh,
I just revealed when we recorded it.
Oh, shit.
Now historians would be like, what was the first Thursday of the new year?
Shit.
Oh, it was the 32nd.
Shit. Shit. So you're listening to our show, and on Unappreciated Masterpieces, what we do is we do feature-length audio commentaries for movies that seemingly don't deserve them. But that's where the word seemingly comes in, because we beg to differ on that, don't we, Bartek?
I beg you, please.
See, that's him differing. And, and we do movies that may not be considered the greatest, but we think they are. We find something in them that the rest of society did not, because at the end of the day, someone wrote this, someone directed this, someone acted in it. People spent time, days of their lives, working on this product, on this piece of art, on this film, and it just wasn't accepted by the general masses or the critics the way it should have. And we delve into these movies trying to find out why they didn't get accepted and what is this movie about? What makes them an unappreciated masterpiece? But, you know, who knows? Maybe this will be a film that will change it all. Or it won't. Maybe it is a film so radical that we just are going to be blown away by how unappreciated it is, or how much of a masterpiece, or both. But Bartek, what is the film?
Right, first of all, I just want to say that your whole speech right there about what we do, it was very beautifully said and very handsome of you. The movie that we are doing today is Pan.
Oh, shit, I don't... Look, I know it's a new year and you make resolutions, but none of my resolutions were to learn Polish. So I don't know what movie we're watching, because yes, we both happen to be Polish, because that's why we're both spitting Polish, likingly because we're all spitting, and we both happen to be Polish, but this Polish boy here, Ryan, does not know the language.
Oh, no.
So I don't know what we're watching.
Yeah, well, just before I say it, my New Year's resolution is to do the exact same thing multiple times and expect different results.
And sometimes you'll get them.
Yep.
So what are we watching?
But I'm not going to just say the title again. Pan is a weird word because it's a different thing in multiple languages. In Japanese, it's, you know, the word for bread, I think. In Polish, it's the word for, like, a man or sir, like you'd be Pan Sliwinski. But in English, it's a cooking utensil. But it's also the last name of Peter Pan, and this movie is about Peter Pan. It's called Pan.
From 2015?
Yeah.
That was 2 years ago.
Yeah, we could, if we did this a week ago, we could have said a year ago.
Oh, but we didn't do it a week ago, and we're not doing it alone, are we? We've got a guest. Our first guest of the year.
Yay!
You know, the bar's going to be set pretty high for the guest of what quality the year is going to be for the rest of the guests.
She's going to blow everyone away?
So it's a she. Oh, good.
Hi guys.
Hi Kate. So Kate Dyer, who appeared on this show once before for the Shaggy Dog.
Mm-hmm. Woof woof.
That was great times.
There is no Shaggy Dog in this movie, or is there? I don't know. Kate told us just before recording that she didn't finish the entire movie before we started this. So, Kate, if it suddenly turns into the Shaggy Dog near the end, you wouldn't know.
I got this covered.
She's got it covered. So, let's get straight into this.
Okay, Ryan. Syllable.
Thank you, Bartek. So, guys, you gotta have your copy of Pan ready. Pan is a newer movie, so it's right there for you to enjoy. It's not hard to find. So get your legal copy of the 2015 classic Pan. And we are going to do a countdown for you guys to get in sync to watch this with us.
So get your Blu-ray/DVD/VHS player ready, because when we say go, that's when you gotta G-O.
Okay.
Which is the Japanese word for 5, but in English it means go.
So get ready to press play in 3, 2, 1, play. So...
No, I said say go. Now they for someone to say go.
Oh, well, if it helps you guys, we're approximately...
7, 8,
8, 9, 10.
10.
Thanks, Kate, for contributing to the countdown. She didn't really want to
13,
because Kate's got a
14.
mouthful of chips.
I had a snake that time.
Oh, shit. She had a phallic-shaped
Pay attention,
object in her
Ryan.
mouth. God damn it.
I bought snacks and I chose the wrong snacks to bring.
She always brings the wrong snacks.
But the loud
Oh,
ones.
one time she's come on, and I don't think she brought snacks last time. I don't remember.
No, I didn't.
She did not. So, we're watching the 2015 cinematic classic Pan. Let's give a brief history of this movie, of our histories.
Oh, our
Bartek?
history.
Bartek, what's your history with Pan?
I had not... Of this specific movie, I had not heard of it until you brought it up to me, like, about a week or two ago.
Oh, good.
You mentioned something like, oh, this guy's there, which is appropriate, but he's a cowboy. And I'm like, what? We'll get into that later.
We'll
But
get into that later.
I have limited familiarity with the expanded universe of the Peter Pan. Yes.
The Panverse, yeah.
Yes, the Panverse.
And that's it. That's your background.
I mean, there's not really much more I could add to that, unless you have questions.
No, I'm good.
No.
You see?
Kate, what's your background?
Well, I had heard of the movie, unlike Bartek, when you told me this is the one we were watching.
Because you were in society when it happened, not
Yes.
dwelling in some cave
Yes,
waiting
I
for a
wasn't in
podcast to
society.
bring you out to the light.
To be
and
fair, we started in 2015.
It was actually a movie that I did want to go and see
What's
in the
your
movies because I did
excuse?
really like the look of it. I just never got around to it.
And now you have.
And now I
partly.
have, partly.
Partly.
I
a
did
good
make
thing,
it partway through. As Ryan and Bartek will be aware, I'm moving to Darwin next week and been busy with my
So
packing.
if you want Kate's current address where she'll no longer be living, so you can break in dead easy because she's not there, it is. And
The
then
desert.
that's when like I put in editing a giant beep, like beep.
It's 17 Address Street.
Look, my history with this movie is very simple. I saw the ads for it. I saw the trailers. I saw a lot of advertisements, all this stuff. Heard the buzz wasn't so good and said, you know what? Not for me. This looks like, again, this is past Ryan making another past mistake, thinking, oh, this is going to be exactly like Oz the Great and Powerful, which past Ryan did not see also, and say, it'll be crap, just like Oz the Great and Powerful. And boy, was I wrong on both fronts.
You were also wrong about something else. You said the buzz wasn't good for this. Mm-hmm. Buzz was in the Shaggy Dog. I know we were joking about this being the Shaggy Dog, but Tim Allen's not in this movie, Ryan.
Are you sure Tim Allen's not in this movie?
What, does he play Mary?
Is no, he obviously plays Nibs.
Oh. And he's not in it for much because he's too expensive, I see.
Yeah, that's why they don't have Nibs in it too much.
You know, Peter Pan was one of my favourite Disney movies growing up as well.
Really? That's going to be really embarrassing for you because I don't like Peter Pan. The Disney. No, it's alright.
No, why?
It's okay. It's
Shigeru Miyamoto likes Peter Pan.
Who?
Shigeru Miyamoto.
Oh, that classic.
That classic guy, he only made Mario and Zelda.
Yeah, well, just because what
currently
do
playing
you
Zelda
want
at the
from
moment,
me?
too.
Like I'm not comparing
Hold on,
myself
hold
to
on.
the maker of Mario.
What was that you said, Kate?
I started Majora's Mask the other day.
Oh, it's my favourite Zelda
For the first
game.
time ever?
For the
Or-
first time ever.
Favourite Zelda game. He said that Peter Pan is one of his biggest inspirations for the Legend of Zelda series.
You don't say.
So very
Yeah.
appropriate. What Zelda games have you played, Ryan?
Well, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, end of that. Here's a character already. We're already into the movie, guys.
Madam Bumble.
Hmm?
Madam Bumble.
They don't get
not-
bacon. I
It's
feel
not
really sad for
Bumble,
them.
is it?
I'm making an Oliver reference.
Oh, good. I was about to say, I'm like, because this is a bit too close to Oliver, to be honest. Like, at the start of this, he is very much, please, could I have some bacon? Which, you know, I really wanted Oliver to say.
Well, they used to get bacon.
And then, yeah, used to. It's World War II. You gotta suck it up. And then you can have Oliver Platt being like, bacon! Bacon! And just keep saying it, and then the rest of the movie is just the trip about this one magical boy's trip for bacon in Neverland.
Well, there's the image.
What another plot twist.
But the difference here is that in Oliver, it was well known that they were all hogging the food. Here, it's like, oh, it's a rumor.
Oh yeah, it's a secret.
Even though I think it's kind of justified, they said that they're like rationing it, and when they find it, it's like in a storeroom, like being rationed. So it's like, yeah,
Ration.
it's what she said.
Exactly. So here's something that just came up. We just got it. Was he was doing a drawing with chalk
Oh,
of his
yeah.
mother, which he would have the baby memory of.
How would he know what his mother looks
Because he's
like?
a fucking fairy, that's why. You didn't watch the end of the movie.
It's like,
No, I didn't.
see, like, he's British, you know.
Because
It's
he's
like Harry Potter.
Because he's British.
Harry Potter gets like memories of when
But
his parents were killed.
But his parents are magic, so they visit him.
Yeah, but his dad is a fairy and his mum is a human, so magic applies still. Jeez, Kate, don't...
Harry was a half-blood.
Exactly.
Who was?
I don't know.
His mum was a Moogle.
Fuck, we're talking about Peter Pan, not Harry Potter. Can we look? Oh, here's my favorite. One of my favorites, the racially sensitive black kid. And I'm not joking, Bartek. I don't know if you noticed this, but there's a bit.
I haven't. No.
There's a bit where after this air raid goes off, where these kids choose to get snacks rather than live. The black kid is sweeping the floor with another guy, and he says, like, in the most stereotypical, like, servant way that, in, like, you know, in 1940s films, they always had, like, the stereotypical black servants who had that...
Yes, massa?
Yeah. He's talking like that, sweeping the floor. He says, like, a line of dialogue to them, and it's, like, his only line, and I'm like, isn't he English? Like, you know what I mean?
Wait, so, not to say that he's a woman, but he's got that, like, mammy voice?
Yeah, like, he's got that typical American black servant from the 1930s movies where it's like, oh, me, mister, and all that kind of crap, and...
I do an impression, but this show is not known for racism, so I won't.
No, in
They're
2000...
jumping through a hole.
Because if you're
fun.
being bombed, you want to be
okay.
lower to the ground than higher up.
They're being attacked.
The bunker,
No,
right?
Kate. They just love Holes, the film with Shia LaBeouf.
Well, Ryan, I saw
That is a great
Allied.
movie.
I saw Allied the other week, and there were bombings, and they didn't go into holes. They just stood around in their garden.
Well, they're fucking idiots, aren't they?
Yeah, they're only military.
Now, I love this, where it's like, why is the Virgin Mary clean? And I was expecting it to be a cookie jar, but in fact it is a lever for an enormous booby trap. And then, here's the thing that I get. Nibs, down here, and then Nibsy, wait, he's like, I told you, booby trapped. Nibs said it was booby trapped in the previous scene, not Pan. I'm already on board with this movie because it's like Peter absorbs what other people do and say around him at the beginning of the movie, but by the end, he believes in himself and he becomes his own man.
Well, Ryan, if you had the DVD or the Blu-ray, you'd get the deleted scene where Peter says, yeah, booby trapped, you're right. And then it's justified.
No, it's actually like an earlier scene in which Peter's a little, like, he's been dropped off to the nursery and his first words are, booby trap! And then he can be like, I told you, in that opening sequence with Amanda Seyfried, who's in this.
Yep.
Kate, just to
Welcome
let
back.
us know, so we don't get too weird about it, how far into the movie did you manage to make it? So we get an idea.
We've already passed it.
No, it hasn't.
The credits. She's like,
Alright, come on, let's let her
got near
answer.
the end.
It was a solid half hour in. Half
So
hour, 40
no-
minutes, so not really that far.
You said I didn't get it to make it to the end, which implied I made it a good way through. So did you even see Hugh
solid.
Jackman?
Ryan, stop.
Yes, I did. I saw Hugh Jackman.
Oh, that's enough.
You're reading implications, Ryan.
He looks like a pansy.
What? Are you being
I don't
insensitive
like
to
his pyro
pants?
costume.
Kate, this is Unappreciated Masterpieces in which we appreciate the unappreciated, and his costume is damn fine. Did
Well-
you not see him without the wig on?
It doesn't look very piratey though.
He's not supposed to be your typical pirate.
Well, I guess so.
He's over dramatic. He's like a
No.
like a theater pirate
Look,
in
Ryan,
a film.
Ryan, let's be fair. Kate doesn't like him, maybe he doesn't like her. Foreshadowing, but let's not get into that yet. Let's not get into that yet.
So, Kate, Jesus.
Yeah, I'm really
I'm taking
sorry.
these away from her.
Why?
Bartek, you can have some.
Oh, got it. What flavour is that?
There you go.
Nacho cheese?
Oh, that's fine.
But so this is Spit and Polish and Eats, where we teach you how to eat.
Commentary on food and movies.
So, Kate, you didn't see him much. So basically, you saw a little bit of this movie.
Yeah.
What was the last thing? Oh, sorry, just the nun covered with fire behind her. She's still like not moving out of any sort of fear because she's like, I'm gonna punish these kids. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So, Kate, what was the last bit that you saw? Exactly. Do you have that good of a memory?
I think they were about to start mining.
What?
I think.
So it's right after Nirvana song?
Yeah.
So you didn't even get to meet Hook, really?
I met Smee.
Oh, so yeah, Smee's classic.
I didn't meet Hook.
Okay.
I feel like I was just about up to that bit.
Now let's get into this properly, guys. You know, we've been coasting around the big issues here. How are we Peter Pan fans, and or do we know much about the mythos?
I know bits and pieces, I think, mostly from...
So the black kid just said his line, and I was like, there he is.
I know bits and pieces about the mythos based on like what I might have randomly heard online or in the games of Kingdom Hearts, but
Kingdom Hearts.
they have biographies about characters from the works that are featured in there, so it's like, oh, Peter first debuted in this movie and this is his story. So I know things from random places, I guess.
Well,
I might have seen the movie when I was really young, though.
Watch the animated Disney classic?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I watched that too. I have my general knowledge of... I've seen Hook as well. Mm-hmm. I have my general knowledge from those kind of things and just general...
Oh, one of my favourite bits. I sent Ryan a screen cap of this, the next shot.
Yeah, where she's thumbs up. So, I just have a generalized knowledge. So there's a few things that I just go, oh, okay, so is this in the original? Like, what's this? When did this become a thing? Like... Was it, since it's been a while since I watched the Disney version too, did Hook have a Smee? Or was that just in Hook?
No, he always had Smee.
Okay.
Yeah, the Smee was in Kingdom Hearts, so I know,
striped shirt, and he had to get rid of the crocodile.
Glasses?
Did he speak like this or
Yeah,
something?
he had a funny voice.
Captain.
Yeah,
He doesn't in this movie. Damn it.
He's got a funny voice, but he doesn't have that voice.
He doesn't, maybe that's his origin story for the sequel.
Oh yeah, and also, when I was in Poland the last couple of times, my little sister, she sometimes would watch their equivalent of this like channel that has a bunch of children's cartoons. It's called Mini, I think. And one of them was some Peter Pan spin-off show about like these 3 random kids looking for treasure, and Captain Hook and Smee were the villains of that show.
Aww. So, okay, you have a big history. You're a big Peter Pan fan, huh?
I do quite like Peter Pan.
Is he your favourite Pan?
Yes, he is. He's also the only Pan I know of. So
take that,
there.
deadpan.
I've seen the Disney cartoon a few times. Then there was like a real life version released a few years later, which I saw also a few times.
2003 version?
Yeah, I think so.
Not the live musical version that was televised with Christopher Walken as Hook and a grown woman as Peter Pan?
No.
Oh, you missed out.
No.
Boy, did you miss out.
Who'd want to see that based on that description, right?
It was sounding really good up until you said grown woman playing Peter Pan.
Well, on stage, Peter's usually played by...
what's that? Whitewash? Gender wash?
swap.
Gender wash Peter Pan?
Yeah, that's what they do on stage. They get women to play Peter Pan. Come on, guys. Look, she just like full kicked him. And that is foreshadowing because... See what happened there, Bartek? Did you see what happened when she kicked him?
Yeah, he got launched back.
He flew in the air, but he got grabbed, but he got launched in the air. And then when he gets kicked by the villain of the movie, Blackbeard, he flies.
Oh, that's clever. Because at this point you're thinking like, oh, this is a kid's fantasy movie. It's like joke that he flew like that.
And I want to know, like, I didn't really pay attention to that kind of thing, but there's usually a rule of threes with that. When he flies at the end, and spoiler alert, Kate, he flies again. Does he get kicked by someone?
He jumps backwards.
Oh, well, he kicks himself off the thing. Nibs. Friends till death.
Why did he jump off the boat?
Because Nibs didn't want to be sold into piracy. What do you mean? He just got kidnapped.
This is true.
This is Kate in a world where... What? Because he's afraid of heights. You really didn't watch this movie, did you, Kate? You're just pretending. I know you.
No, I watched this bit.
Yeah, he's afraid of heights.
It was hinted
I like that they're typing something that's already been typed.
Yeah. It was hinted at when he looked at the ladder, but it gets pointed out many times.
I think it's really hinted at when he's stuck on the side of the ship and it's on fire.
So, we've asked this a couple of times on this show, but that room full of ladies there, did you think that they were going to come back?
No, I never thought that.
No?
I thought once you're out of the human world, you'll never see humans again. It's not like I didn't even expect to see the nuns again, to be honest. I was actually a
happy that
bit
they got
surprised that I saw Nibs. Spoiler alert, you see Nibs again.
Nibs,
I like Nibs.
Yeah.
I like Nibs too. I was a bit surprised though because I thought Nibs was. I actually thought when Nibs jumped, it's very rare for a kids movie to give this feeling, but I think the relationship between Nibs and Peter was so well established. Like the children that are doing these performances, like the kid actors are fantastic. Even this little guy with the plane, I want to know what his story is, and they're both really good. And I actually had a little moment where in a kids movie I was like, oh, is Nibs gonna not make it when he jumps over? Like I thought, oh, is he gonna like die? And I'm like, oh, and because I actually expected Nibs to be in the movie. Like I actually expected him to be.
He had over 11 minutes of being basically the second protagonist.
Yeah, and I actually thought, oh, they're gonna be doing the Lost Boys thing, right, with all the other kids, right? And you got to set up the origins for that, and Nibs would be like his right hand man, his Rufio type or whatever, right? So
his Ron Weasley.
I don't know, enough Harry Potter, damn you. So
his Vulture to the Matthew Broderick stuck in a Santa costume.
So I really thought that Nibs was going to be a companion throughout this movie, and that Peter would have someone his own age and also in the same understanding to bounce off of, but he didn't. And I think that might have been a weakness of this movie, because I really felt like once Peter becomes the Pan, you kind of lose that point of view angle. Like, it's kind of like when you have a movie like, say, Alice in Wonderland falls in the same trap of once you have a prophecy that makes them kind of a Jesus figure, you kind of lose the ability to relate to them.
Yeah.
But on this movie, I think that is just a minor thing, but I think that might have pushed people back.
Yeah, I definitely did read a comment on YouTube that said that Nibs should have probably played the role that Hook ends up playing, as in, like, his guy that follows him the whole time and encourages him.
I thought it would have been actually interesting for Nibs to be Hook, right? Because Peter doesn't age. That's his thing. He never wants to grow up. Yeah. While Nibs seemed completely... Like, see, that's the thing that they set up. Like, nice. Like, I'm not saying that it's not obviously it didn't happen, but I thought Nibs and Peter were very good friends, but they differed on quite a lot of things. Like, Peter believed that the parents would come back. Nibs had a more cynical view of the world. It was more headstrong. Nibs was a bit more cowardly, but he would still kind of join in, you know what I mean? Like, Nibs has the potential to be a leader, as does Peter. Like, these little things that could make a great foundation for a friendship.
They could have been foils to each other. Exactly,
and Peter would be like, I never want to grow up. On Nibs, I felt like he's the kind of guy who can't wait to be a grown-up. Like, that's how I got it. I'm getting choked up about Nibs, and his fucking name's Nibs. Like,
it's a great name.
You know what I mean? When you get choked up about a character whose name is stupid? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, Star Wars, you know, they have so many characters with ludicrous names, like Luke Skywalker. I mean, great name, but it's also ludicrous, but you're like, oh, I'm getting emotional about a guy called Skywalker. Fuck me.
Nut joke.
It's second to the fart joke that's already happened in this movie.
Yeah, I like that one. Cool.
So, we're entering Neverland now. And what did we think, guys? Seeing a big on-screen cinematic version of Neverland that isn't animated.
I like it.
I like this bit.
With the water bubbles or balls?
Water bodies, spherical water
Here's my
bodies.
thing.
I like water bubbles.
Someone didn't turn their phone off.
Not me.
Fucking Kate.
Mine's on vibrate.
Oh no, who knows? But I like the idea of what happens when those fish, like, eventually would they not run out of water? How does the water keep filling up? Also, what happens if that crocodile just jumps out of the water? Does it just fall?
Yeah, it's like Mario Galaxy.
What?
Because Mario Galaxy is all about going to a bunch of spherical
Did you know
worlds.
that this inspired Mario?
Did it actually?
Well, Mario Galaxy was quite a number of years before
But this is Peter Pan.
And Mario Galaxy 2 was also a number of years before
Yeah, but this is Peter Pan.
And
you
Mario...
said earlier that it inspired.
Well, you know, I did say yes, Shigeru Miyamoto was inspired by this, so, you know, the franchise itself could have.
Look at this gorgeous ship with these gorgeous children. Look at them. I mean, that kid, the blonde one who's just turned around now, he's replacing Nibs. and then he disappears.
Orphan 13. Oh,
Orphan
wow.
2, Orphan 1. You know, you gotta number your orphans. They won't even have... and here we go. We're finally entering when the movie is the divisive point.
When I was first watching this, I wasn't too sure about the singing of Nirvana, but as it kept kind of going and turning into this chant, it was...
Yeah, like they didn't sing...
It got really menacing,
they never
and
said...
I'm like, this is really cool.
Yeah, they never said "Smells Like Teen Spirit." Did
No,
they? I think they just sang the chorus again and again and again. Like, it's kind of like a Mad Max feel, this moment, where he's like a Morton Joe standing there and he's pledging his stuff. I mean, I like the fact that you can take from this that Hugh Jackman / Blackbeard, because they're basically both the same person in a good way, where it's like their Broadway version of something. Like, Hugh Jackman's a Broadway actor. People have to think of him as this hardcore action guy as Wolverine, but really, he likes to sing and dance and be a real showman. And so does Blackbeard. Like, people think Blackbeard's like this...
From Oz.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, exactly. And here's Blackbeard, you think, oh, he's this menacing, big, mean pirate, and you look at him and you go, oh, a little goofy, but still, like, of the theme. But then he comes out and he does like his splits. He's singing along and he's like, he's such a showman, and it's just like such a Broadway thing to do. I love it.
It does look cool.
It's got his Spaniard kind of look going on.
I just don't like the booty.
Yeah, no, it's a very Spaniard kind of look.
Yeah, with the armor and stuff going on.
And the feathers and the red.
I don't know how I feel about the feathers.
I love them. I love him. And there he goes. And you know what I feel with that shot? I know you got green screen there, but I really feel like Hugh Jackman just did that because he can.
Oh, he would have just been like, fuck yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, like, he sees that little 8-year-old kid playing Peter, and he's like, fuck yeah, and just jumps. And that's when the kid who becomes Peter, the kid who's Peter Pan, grew up to be the next Hugh Jackman. Well, did you read the trivia for this?
On IMDb?
Yeah.
I believe I did.
Did you read the trivia? Fun trivia about the guy who plays Hook?
Yeah, how they got along really well.
Hugh Jackman and the guy who plays Hook.
Yeah, they seemed like the best of bros.
Yeah, he was just like, he inspired me and most men of my age to be actors. And I'm like, Hugh Jackman?
And he said, like, that
I mean, like, I love Hugh Jackman, but outside of Wolverine,
to be fair, like,
and if you're not Australian, like, what does he mean to you? Like, you know what I mean?
To be
Like,
fair,
I love him.
To be fair, you're focusing on the actor part.
I actually,
He said stunts, didn't he?
He actually came and did, like, a live show, and he talked about his life, and he was, like, a big, like, song and show sort of thing, so he'd sing songs from different musicals and stuff that he'd been a part of. It was really interesting, because I'm just like...
You're Wolverine.
No, the thing that he focused on was how intensely he works out in the gym.
Yeah, well, Hugh Jackman's fucking rich.
I know, but the guy who played Hook, what's his name?
Garrett Hedlund.
Garrett Hedlund was just enamored by the way he works out in the gym. Might
I add something? This scene here, he said, these rules are so simple, you can fit them on a pig's ear. And the first rule is like a speech. You know what I mean? Like, it's like 15 lines long, and then the second one, it's still on the same side, might I add. He hasn't flipped it.
Yeah.
And his second one is just like another speech.
He's got teeny handwriting.
Might I add, when he's talking about all this slavery stuff, all the kids look excited because they're going to get candy, which you never see them get. And the only kid that looks worried, other than Peter, is the black kid. And I think, you know what I mean? Like, again, I don't want to be this racial insensitive, but it's kind of like, he knows. He knows.
It's kind of like stereotypical.
Yeah.
I don't think you're being racially insensitive. I think you're being like the most sensitive. That's and it's like in a good way. Like,
that's my
you're
problem.
You're looking out for little black.
Oh.
Thanks, Bartek. So this is where Kate got up to.
Yeah. This is where
Let's actually see how long. 20 minutes.
No,
23. 23. There you go, Smeagol.
See, I told you I meant Smee.
Is his name actually Smeagol in the things, or is he actually just Smee? Like, he's nicknamed
From what
Smee.
I understand, it's just Smee, but, I mean, maybe this is an adaptation thing.
I didn't look up who this actor was. I really liked him. He reminded me of Oscar Isaac. A lot.
Yeah,
we know Oscar Isaac, yeah? No?
I just
Never watched Star Wars The Force Awakens?
Yeah.
The fuck's that?
Poe.
Oh,
He looks like... He reminds me of him.
Oh, the guy who was barely in it, but that everyone loves?
Yeah.
Okay, him.
Kind of like Greedo.
Well, Greedo's much minor.
Fuck Harry Potter. Let's talk about Star Wars.
Yeah, same thing.
So, Kate, tell us what your thoughts kind of were when you were watching this up to what up to. So, what was your general roller coaster feeling?
Well, I like the whole, I guess, seeing how he got into Neverland and in the orphanage and getting the whole, like, Oliver and also, like, a Miss Trunchbull vibe. Were you getting Miss Trunchbull vibes from that main...
No, I was just getting mean Irish Catholic woman.
Okay. I was interested to see more of Hugh Jackman, obviously, throughout more of the movie.
Oh,
if
Kate,
I was able to watch it, more of it.
Kate, you get to see a lot of him.
Yeah.
Okay, you haven't seen the scene, but you get to see a lot of him.
I think they've set it up really well, and I'm intrigued.
Well, she's intrigued. That's what the first act of a movie should do for you, and it worked.
It works. See, successful.
Now,
can I have some chips?
No.
Yes. Here's a tip. You can shake them with the microphone.
I shake you all. Sorry, guys. Back to the Pixum. Here's the thing that I like about this movie, right? It's kidsy, but not afraid to be edgy and for adults at the same time. Like, the whole Hook character is really for adults. He's very sleazy. He's very menacing on a level, like, not fully, because he's not the antagonist of this movie. He doesn't do that role. Oh yeah, it was you. Yeah. So he admits her mistakes, and she's
the antagonist.
Kate's the antagonist of our show.
Okay.
You have Blackbeard's whole existence. He murders people and children. He murders children in this, like, willy-nilly. Like, that's the best part. Like, this movie's, like, not afraid to be, like, kidsy whimsy. Like, one of my favourite lines of this entire movie, we've already passed it, was Peter arriving in Neverland and being like, is this Canada? I really like that. It's really sweet. It's actually a joke that really lands well. I think that's a good thing about this movie.
Yeah, and it was sort of set up because they were talking about Canada earlier.
Exactly.
Yeah, Nibs was.
And Nibsy. And, that's a cool thing about this movie. I think the jokes land for the kids, but the darker stuff, the darker nature, really lands for the adults. And I think they blend them too well together for this to be a perfect family movie. Because, when you think family movies, you think, light, fluffy with nothing of content in them. Maybe, and if they are, you think like Pixar, perhaps. So that's the thing about the Pixar movies and the Disney ones. They're not afraid to throw some dark, edgy ideas into their movies while still catering for the kids.
Oh yeah, they mentioned
I love that growing up watching some of the older Pixar movies and then watching them again older, you notice things that you didn't notice when you were a kid, and you were like, oh, that's why Dad was laughing, or blah, 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 blah.
I really like this dwarf actor that he has, and there's never a reference to him at any point. They never address him. They never say anything about
He's
that.
just there.
Yeah, and he has little wings on his back, like they're sewn onto his vest. So is he like a reference to a creature that is in Peter Pan? Or is he supposed to be like a reference to, like, the flying monkey type in Wizard of Oz? Like, I'm kind of wondering.
You'd think, I would assume it'd be a fairy sort of reference.
Well, he hates fairies, Kate. If you watch the movie, you know this. Here's the thing, Bartek. When you watch this, you watch it all the way through. Now, this could be considered a very critical question in a negative sense towards a movie, but it's still one that you have to address. The motivation of Blackbeard is to get this Pixum to help him. Kate, we're not going to say what it is because you have to see the scene to understand why he needs all the Pixum, because you haven't seen that, have you?
Okay. No, I haven't.
He and the fairies make the pixie dust or Pixum or whatever, and then he proceeds to kill all of them.
Is it mentioned that they make it, or is it?
Yeah, they make it. They make it.
Yeah, Smee explains it.
Smee explains it. They make it, so he genocides them, and he wants to genocide them again. And he's like,
"Is that a verb?"
Yeah.
Okay.
Genocides them, exterminates them. Feel better?
Yeah.
He exterminates them, and then he finds they have a fairy kingdom that's secretly hidden. And look, there he is, little guy. It's a fairy kingdom that's hidden. And he finds it, and he sees that it's got all of this Pixum, like, whoa, loads of it. And he goes, oh, this is great. And then he just goes, kill all the fairies. It's like, wouldn't you want to keep a bunch of them to create Pixum forever? Like, you know what I mean? Like, keep them as a slave race instead of using these humans, these kids. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But yet again, how does one enslave a fairy? But Bartek, did you have a problem with that at all? Did that ever kind of come up to you?
Well, his whole motivation, I feel, isn't... It's like an obvious one because it's...
Bye-bye.
He's dead, by the way.
Because it's something you can infer just from watching it. I don't think it's ever actually, like, stated that this is what he wants to do with it. You just see him do it, and it's like, oh, I see, and that's just it.
Yeah.
Is that right, or does he actually mention I use this to?
Yeah, at the very end when he opens the thing up, I'm trying to not spoil it for you, Kate. But he
It's
says
really
this.
not that big of a deal.
No, he says this big grand line. He says this big grand line, and it sums up his whole entire motivation. We'll get to it when we see the scene that we're just trying to hide from Kate, because Kate, you get to see a lot of Hugh Jackman in this. So
I do like Hugh Jackman.
I like this recurring thing that he says, think a happy thought, and then he murders someone. Like, he does that throughout the movie. I want to know what that's all about.
Well, in a way, it's like, it might not be like too effective, but like it's a way of letting your guard down.
But it's like
if I was like, Ryan, just relax, and I punched you immediately in the face.
But I guess it's that whole, that sense of life flashing before your eyes. You want to remember the good stuff.
But it's his little intimidating thing he says before he kills you. It's like, what's it?
It's like when mobsters like kiss you, and it's like a kiss of death.
Yeah, he's just, have a happy thought, die. And here we see Peter fly. Did you see this?
No.
So you didn't even make it 30 minutes in. You're So it didn't really affect you too much. Kate obviously had no opinions one way or the other about Blackbeard's motivation. It kind of got under my skin a little, but at the same time, Hugh Jackman's performance. He's one of those performances that just really kind of makes all the negative comments you could say about his character just disappear. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's having a good time.
Like, his performance is so well done that any negatives you could throw at it kind of bounce off, because it's like, well, yeah, I'm aware.
Yeah, it's like the core of it. This is a movie. What do people watch movies to do? Get entertained. And like we've mentioned, he's an entertainer.
Entertain us.
Well, he gets all his rally to chant that as well.
Yeah. Okay. You didn't see the other song they do in this movie, did you?
No, I haven't.
Didn't we just pass it?
Did we?
Hey,
Yeah,
let's go.
Blitzkrieg Bop.
Oh, we did.
It was when he was kicking
Okay.
people
I
off.
enjoyed that.
Kate, do you want to know what other songs they do in the movie?
Yes.
None.
Oh, what?
Those are the only two that they do like that.
He has such this theatrical, presence about him, and then nothing?
There's a song later.
To be
Bartek,
fair,
there is, isn't there? There's a song later.
What, in the credits?
No. There's a song when we there's a bit later where you go to the natives village.
There was
And
one,
there's a
wasn't
song like
there?
at night when Peter's trying to learn how to fly, and you just hear like this song, and I'm like, who's singing this? Is this Rooney Mara? And then you see her, and it's not her singing. And I'm like, oh. And for me, on my copy, it gives me the subtitles, even for the songs, for listening, hearing impaired, so you get all the noises. For that, nothing. So I'm like, oh, this is the soundtrack. This is the soundtrack. So it's like they inserted a pop song into the film, and I think maybe that is why this is an unappreciated masterpiece, because films rarely have the balls to do that.
Yeah. And the reason why they use these modern songs, or relatively modern songs, in this period piece.
No, why?
I read on
Baz Luhrmann exists.
No, I read online that it's to bring about the idea that Neverland exists outside of time.
Yes, that's always something I've never. What is your opinion of what Neverland is? Like, in general, or what it was before you watched this movie? Because it kind of spoon-feeds you in this specific scene what it is. Or at least to what it is to Blackbeard.
My impression of it, before I even saw this movie, was it was just an island. I didn't... Well, obviously, and, boys live there who are... Lost. And how does that work? Did they get kidnapped? Or they just went away? Or Peter Pan
took them.
Peter took them?
That's usually how it goes.
Right.
Peter took them. In the old versions of it, Peter was more of a monster than a hero, I thought. Or at least in some retellings.
Yep, so it's an island where he takes boys to not grow up, I think it was. And there are natives that live there, but they're not explicitly stated to be like Native Americans, but they're pretty much always characterized as Native Americans.
Yeah, I think so. I think Tiger Lily kind of narrows you down.
Yeah.
As a name.
Because I know that one of the big criticisms of this, and, I read YouTube comments, so I got no shortage...
He read YouTube comments, and that's enough.
I got no shortage of this. People were upset that Tiger Lily was white.
Nah, as you should
Is she
be.
white in this film?
Yeah, she's played by Rooney Mara, who's an actress who is white. So you'll see that, Kate. It's great.
But a lot of people are arguing, like,
She's whiter than Hugh Jackman in his white man makeup.
and her father...
And that's not a joke.
And the chief's her father, right?
And the chief?
Yeah.
The chief's played by an Aboriginal.
Is played by an Aboriginal. And every member of the tribe is a different race of people.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, so when exactly, like what Kate just said there, it's interesting, but, like, so... In that way, I don't really mind as much in this case, but...
I feel like a
People
lot
are
of this
focusing-
commentary is going to be explaining to Kate the logic of this movie, which is great. Because Kate, do you know what they use as bullets in this movie?
Bullets?
I see what happens after they shoot. Did they mention what it is?
No.
Or are you talking about, like, what the crew use?
Yeah.
I don't even know how to describe it. Is it like
It's
dust bomb or something?
It's a color run kind of thing where they out their guns shoots powder, colored powder, but it kills you.
I thought it turns you into powder.
No, it just kills you.
But
like
don't
it's a bullet.
Don't the bodies vanish?
No, they just don't show the bodies because
I thought
it's an adult movie. No, they don't even do any effects to make them vanish. It's just cuts. Like, you never see a body drop to the ground. Like, you see them get shot. There's pink smoke, dust everywhere.
My impression
and then
was
you just never see that area where they've just shot someone ever again.
Okay, well, my impression was that they turn into that dust because the bodies just vanish.
No, you see, if you watch the movie, you'll see as soon as they shoot their gun, the dust comes out of the gun.
Really? Doesn't it come out of where they were?
No.
Or were they all just shooting point blank every time?
They were shooting and dust. The pink dust just shoots out. Like, it is a gun that shoots dust.
Okay.
Isn't that cool, Kate? If you
coloured
were
dust,
doing a kids movie, how would you show death without already having shown Hugh Jackman literally kick a kid off of a ship?
You turn them into chocolate like Majin Buu.
Oh, don't you dare bring Dragon Ball Z into this. That was like one of the worst moments in Dragon Ball Z I might have had.
I only brought it up because I remembered in Nothing But Trouble you brought him up. So I was like, I'll do it again.
So, Kate,
I
you
love
didn't,
that.
you didn't get to meet Hook properly.
This is
You know what Hook sounds like?
No.
How do you remember Hook being in your memory of the character?
Probably similar to that of Blackbeard.
Yeah, you think
Avast ye
Blackbeard...
mateys!
You think he's but he's not just a pirate. He's very effeminate, gentlemanly kind of... Very much about...
Bit affable.
A bit all about the etiquette of piracy, right? Like,
Like a nice moustache.
Blackbeard throughout this movie is like, bad form, which is very Hook. In this movie, Hook kind of sounds like this.
Look at how he looks, and think. And if you think, to yourself,
like Indiana Jones a little bit with the hat.
yeah, and he looks like a bit of a cowboy. You think?
Yeah.
How do cowboys sound?
Well, they sound more down tuned, but this guy sounds like a weird kind of Jack Nicholson, but deeper.
I really like his
a weird
voice.
Jack.
I do like his voice a lot. It's very rich.
No, I heard a lot of criticisms for this movie. The main ones being Rooney Mara's not of color; she's white, playing a Native American role, and that
Traditionally Native American, yeah.
and that Hook is not Hook, and he's this weird cowboy guy who's over the top. I was walking in expecting that to be a problem, and I gotta be honest, after 2 minutes, you just kind of get used to it and be like, well, he isn't Hook yet.
It's almost as if people don't really hate Indiana Jones / Han Solo type characters.
Kate's just laughing at the jokes for the first time. Oh, Kate, you're so innocent.
I think it's a very minor technicality. Someday could be today.
So
Yeah, that kind of took me back. I'm like, is he betraying them or something? Like, why are they all freaking out about this?
yeah, because he's like Smee, not now.
I know, he's being dumb.
We need a guy on the inside. So the Hook thing didn't bother me. I actually quite liked it after a while. I just accepted it. I just went, okay, he's not... Look, the best live-action Hook you're gonna get is Dustin Hoffman, if you're looking for the typical gentlemanly, affable Hook. Am I right? Like, that's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get him where he's always constantly shining his hook and he's going on about etiquette and he's using this, and this. But this is a movie where they're setting up a different Peter Pan universe where, hey, Tiger Lily's a grown woman instead of someone Peter's age. She's a love interest for Hook instead of for Peter, kind of stuff, you know? Like,
Peter Pan and her were love interest?
I don't know.
What
Like, you know,
about
like no,
Wendy?
you,
I kind of feel
No,
like that there was a bit
there's
of
a
love
tension there, but
triangle.
like, you know what I mean? Like, in this kind of movie, if you had her in it as his age, she would be the love interest.
Yeah.
Oh, right, because there is no Wendy. So.
Because there is no Wendy.
Yeah.
Wendy doesn't exist. And
Well, clearly you haven't seen the Phantom Menace, where there's a love the age difference.
No, yeah. How good was the romance? The prequels. Yeah, there you go. That's the end of that
The first one. Mwah.
Bartek,
Are you an angel?
The problem in the universe is no one helps each other. That's one of my...
Was that a line?
Yeah.
That's great.
I saw that online the other day and someone's just like, fuck you, Anakin. Like, Jesus. You grew up to kill people. So, here's an interesting sequence, Kate.
Does Peter even know how he flies? Yet?
No, the whole... Fuck. The whole...
Actually, this scene establishes it, though.
Okay, the whole premise of the movie is he does not know how to fly, he learns how to fly, saves the day. Spoiler alert. Like, he's not Peter Pan yet. He only gets the hat at the end. And it's not even green.
And does he even put it on, or did Nibs put it on?
No, it's already on him when he floats in.
Ah, okay.
It's like Peter Pan's already become Peter Pan outside of Nibs. Nibs sees him, he's like, alrighty. I miss Nibs. I think this movie should have been called Nibs. We're gonna have his story about being left in the orphanage all by himself with the nuns.
Did this confuse you? Like, what?
I literally thought, is he just gonna kill them?
Yeah, I'm like, what's he doing?
But then I realised how the cart works. So yeah, he's...
Yeah, like that stops it from going back.
And there we go. So, Hook, Bartek, really didn't bother you? You accepted your Hook version?
I liked his voice. I really didn't have a problem.
You liked his voice,
It was a cool voice.
I thought he was a great little character.
He and the Chief, good voices.
He and the Chief.
Yeah, I like Aboriginal voices.
Specifically.
Well, yeah, because they have this really dignified way of speaking.
Yeah, they do.
I like Smee's voice because he was high-pitched and annoying.
Yeah, it was funny.
Well, that's very stereotypical Smee as well. From what
Yeah,
I've
Bob
seen.
Hoskins in Hook, definitely.
Yeah.
I think the Chief was played by a guy called Jack Charles.
I did not look up the Chief, I'm afraid.
He had a Wikipedia page. It wasn't too big, but... Yeah,
Well, he was in Pan, so it must have been pretty good.
Yeah, I realise he's I think the second Aboriginal character we've had in a movie for this show. The first one being all the way back in Kangaroo Jack.
Are you sure about that?
Well, there might have been a few in Kangaroo
Okay,
Jack.
this guy has a metal hand, but it's just a piece of armor to protect his hand. He actually has a hand. But only on that arm.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing I love
Why
about
not
this.
protect the other one?
Because he needs that hand to grab out his sword easy. Duh. But it's weird that it's on the same side as the hand.
It's like a shield. You hold it with one hand and then you have a sword in the other. So, you know.
I do like the fact that the metal hand guy, I don't know his name, I call him Metal Hand Guy, uses his metal hand to beat the shit out of people.
The black guy.
Yes, Bartek.
He had a name, but I think it might have been, I might have it on my computer
It's
somewhere.
Metal Hand Guy, Kate.
It's not Boris, I don't think.
Boris.
Yeah, the black guy, Boris.
Well, Ryan, it's outside of regular world.
Yeah.
He had a name and they kept saying it, but I can't remember what it was.
I don't know. Just back to that Neverland question I asked earlier. I don't know what my interpretation of Neverland was. I thought it was just a random island as well. I never really thought too much about it. Like, I never sat down and went, what is the meaning behind what Neverland is?
Second star to the right and straight on till morning.
It's
from the movie.
You're just reading the subtitles because you never watched the film beforehand.
Oh,
Was that just in the subtitles then?
Huh?
No, that's in the original Peter Pan with the Disney one.
Oh,
Just quoting
That's how to
the
get to
original
Neverland,
work,
second
Ryan.
star.
why isn't it in this movie? Or was it?
And people who've seen movies before have read the subtitles on this show, so give her a break, Ryan. Don't be a bully.
But the subtitles aren't always correct on this.
Yeah, I know. I've seen some random percentage signs in these subtitles. I haven't brought them up.
So, I don't know. I never thought of Neverland. But you know what this movie does raise? It makes it so obvious. It's obviously like purgatory. Yeah. It's like a life beyond death, but before it. In between life and death kind of shit. And Blackbeard loves it.
You're in this limbo.
Yeah. No, here it is, Kate. I looked at the scene, Bartek, and I said, what is going on here?
I'm thinking that I'm like, what? Oh, okay.
And then you
I
see,
was like, who is this guy?
oh, he's using Pixum for something. Uh-oh!
I was like, is that Ben
Ah,
Kingsley?
to keep him youthful.
No, it's just to keep him smelling nice. He's always looked like that,
No,
Kate.
Kate got it, Ryan.
I like his gimp mask, yeah. And there's like little clouds that move out too, so that way we can see it better. Look, Hugh Jackman. Do you think Hugh Jackman's a sexy man? Anyone?
Not as
Jeez,
Blackbeard.
Ryan preaching to the choir much?
What?
Of course he's sexy.
Yeah, but just not as Blackbeard.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You don't like him bald?
No.
You don't like him with a wig?
No.
You don't like him with a mustache and a goatee combo?
Or a Blackbeard.
Wait, you don't like black people? Jesus, Kate.
Well, Ryan, you already established your favourite character is black. Maybe she just doesn't agree. Maybe she
Yeah.
likes nibs.
I did like Nibs.
See?
Yeah, because he was literally one of the 4 characters she met during the process of watching it. That was that was the general statement. So here we enter what is more feeling like Oz the Great and Powerful territory, where the scenery is that great mixture of green screen, CG, and practical. And I think it blends seamlessly, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
And there's where the hook that we no longer know comes in. Like that line of delivery there that he just had, where he just like turned around exasperated, and he really cements what this... If you had any quibble about, oh, maybe he'll turn into the hook that we all know and love, that line there kind of makes you know, no, he's not. He's a completely different hook.
And then as the movie keeps going and he like gets all this like nice character development and befriends people, it's like slowly getting further and further away to the end of the movie where he's buddies with Nibs.
He is, isn't he?
Yeah.
And in the end, he reveals he is Nibs, because he doesn't know his past, and this world doesn't work in the same timeline as ours.
Yeah, it exists outside of time, so maybe Will Smith's somewhere with his Jimi Hendrix shirt.
Oh, I thought you were going to say this was in the same space as After Earth, where Will Smith has crashed his ship and is bleeding out somewhere.
I haven't seen After Earth.
Well, Jesus.
I only watch bad movies, Ryan.
And
The
unappreciated
sass on this
masterpieces.
kid is
And
great.
unappreciated masterpieces.
Well, you know, the kid's sassy, Kate.
I love it.
You know, they call him Peter Sass. That's exactly what they call him. So,
5 out of 10. Good one, Ryan. That was right.
yeah, you know. Well, you know, I'm contributing something, Bartek.
Didn't you? I chewed chips in front of the microphone earlier. I think I've been doing a good job.
And that's the end of his, like, no more for Bartek this episode.
Where's my paycheck? I'm done.
So, this universe is very interesting. Okay, so wait.
It's Endor.
Is it?
Well, I mean, it's not literally Endor, Ryan.
Is it?
I mean, no, but later on, and when you get to the natives' village and they live in, like, treetops and stuff like that, it kind of gives you, like, the very end of Return of the Jedi vibes.
I guess.
Like the place
like
where...
the feeling of constant sorrow and disappointment that
Like-
this is the movie you're
Like
watching,
around... Well, no, Ryan, I'm trying to reference the scene where he sees the ghost of Hayden Christensen instead of the original guy. Excuse me while I'm trying to say all this good stuff. Because you see, Ryan, it's consistent with the prequels.
Yay! Everyone's favourite thing is to be consistent with prequels. So, here we are, in the jungle. It's very gorgeous.
It is.
It's
Very pretty.
But Kate, you haven't seen that random Italian butterfly just there. I don't
Not
know
until
why.
now I hadn't.
But you haven't seen
Well, Puka.
CGI at its finest.
No?
No.
Oh.
CGI at its finest in what year would you say, Bartek? 1998?
What happened in 1998?
No, I'm saying the CG quality in this is the CG quality of the finest CG artists of 1998. I would say you'll see, Kate.
Okay.
Bartek, you remember what I'm talking about, of course. The most beautiful flying creatures I've ever seen in a feature
You
film.
mean the ones that make that really majestic noise?
Ah! That noise?
Yeah.
I can't remember what noise. Is it just a squawking sound? It's a bird.
I just remember it being silly.
There's shrieks. Sorry, I screwed up. No, I got a bit lost in my
Oh,
own...
Smear's a good line here.
Okay. Shut up, Smee.
I think I might have accidentally called him Shmee. 2 out of 10 for me.
Fuck you. I like the fact his name is Smeagol, and you have this idea that he's actually going to find the ring and become this really weird creature as the movie goes on.
because his last name's only mentioned like once, and I didn't really remember it.
I did, because I'm like, oh, it's Smeagol. And here it is, Kate. There it is.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Isn't it great? It's like a video game cutscene on the screen, you know? I love it.
It actually kind of looks cute.
That's a Neverbird.
I like it. A Neverbird. Because they never should have existed. Is that the joke there, screenwriter?
Wonder if Jim Henson could have made one of these guys.
No, that's what I was saying when with my girlfriend when watching this. It's like, imagine if this was like done like Labyrinth. This would be really an interesting project, and maybe that is a part of why this movie doesn't hold up to the general masses as well. Like, you know, it's maybe a bit too watered down for them. Like, you know, we're so used to people running away from CGI creatures, and now when you see a practical effect thing happen on the screen, like Mad Max that we mentioned earlier, it seems like, do you find it weird that we live in an age where we can computer generate anything, but we're still blown away by like a puppet? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it's when a puppet's done really well to the point that it's not entirely obvious, then that's impressive because it's not like the easy out most people use.
No, exactly. But like that's what I mean. But like back in the day, we were, you know, people were so amazed by like Terminator 2 and shit like that, and then like stuff like that today is just like, oh, you're...
Terminator 2 is still gorgeous because the T-1000 is really shiny, and shiny is good. You can quote me on that.
That's
Shiny
Bartek's
is
quote
good.
before he, like, on his tombstone.
You can
Shiny is good.
Edit the... Like, get the movie Terminator 2.
Is
Edit
this
me
Tiger
saying
Lily?
shiny is
No.
good every time he's shiny.
It's a different Lily. It's her sister, Pussy Lily. She looks like you, Kate.
You reckon?
I don't know. She's got her hair the same style as you right now, sort of. Not really, but, you know, enough for me to make a comparison. If
Okay.
you dressed up like this, you would look more like Tiger Lily than Rooney Mara, if it make you feel any better.
Yeah.
And you're white. So
I
there
am
you
white.
go.
And I'm white.
And I'm black. And that's why I like that black character so much. I really relate.
Ryan, you're projecting yourself into the movie when you're sweeping and you say massa and stuff like that.
I really like the fact that in that shot, Hook was clearly wearing eyeliner. I really like that. That really made me feel good because it's like, hey, it kind of foreshadows him in the future.
Because he would wear eyeliner.
Yeah,
Because
see,
Hook will
stuff
wear
like
eyeliner.
that reminds me of Endor, like
Ah,
those buildings.
Yeah, well.
Or
And,
buildings, those man-made things.
and what about Harry Potter? There was no jungle planets in Harry Potter?
There might have been. We never really got to see the outer space in the Harry Potter universe. So, you know, Ryan, don't jump to conclusions.
Are there... Wait, here's the
I
thing.
feel like the spiders in the Forbidden Forest would have little parties like this.
Aragog would just be
'Cause
in,
why
like, the
not?
middle there.
And I like this joke here. He's sleeping and then he wakes up. Oh, yawn. Yeah, I got hit unconscious. And when you get knocked unconscious by a punch in the face with a weapon, do you wake up yawning? Be like, oh, that was a good nap.
I wouldn't say I would, but then again, I've never been knocked out.
I don't know, Kate. I've seen you pretty knocked out before. Oh, sorry. Knocked up. Different word. No.
Congratulations.
Was that a 7 out of 10 for you? Felt like a 7.
I'd give that like a 7.1, Ryan. That was pretty good.
Shit, that was a 0.1 difference there. Bartek never wants to meet me on the same level during the show. He's like, I shall always be above you.
But just a tiny bit.
Or below.
Almost insignificantly.
My 0.1.
Mhm.
So here we are.
0.1 sometimes.
This is the woman who put grandma's great crochet on her head and said, yeah, this looks tribal. What do you think, Bartek? Do you like her look, her aesthetic as Tiger Lily? Does it meet the Tiger Lily satisfaction?
Oh, so she wasn't Tiger Lily. That's Tiger
That
Lily.
is, I was joking, Kate. It's Tiger Lily. You're not Tiger Lily. I know I convinced you just briefly a moment ago that you were in
Can't
fact
you tell
Tiger.
by her white skin?
I thought this guy looked like, I don't know, he reminded me of someone, and I'm like, who is this?
Isn't there an Asian Australian actor? His name like Ang something? Ando?
That's a comedian.
Doesn't he look... I haven't seen Ando in ages. Does he look a bit like that?
Not buff, but maybe.
Oh.
What, you think there's this gymnast comedian that just exists?
Well, I mean, I wasn't trying to compare him to a gymnast. Does he look like a gymnast, you know?
This guy?
Yeah.
Probably.
Or doesn't he look a bit like... What's that guy from Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Ang.
What's all these, like, 3-lettered A names that I keep trying to come up with?
Avatar: The Last Airbender. Oh, Sam Worthington.
Oh, that one. Right.
I actually got Bartek
I-
confused. I'm very proud of myself.
Because I'm like, I know that name. That's the Avatar guy, right?
And then you're like, oh, that's right, we're talking about Avatar. I had a guy described the Avatar movie to me one time, and he accidentally described a completely different movie. Like,
Fern Gully or something?
No, a movie called Hesher with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and they're completely different. Like, one's like a naturalistic, dramatic comedy, and the other one's like sci-fi. So, very different.
8 out of 10. Would have been funnier if he had described you Snowden by accident. That would be 9 out of 10.
So, okay,
Yes.
you like the tribe?
Yes.
You want to be in one of them?
Yes.
You could be. You could represent.
What do you mean in one of them? There's only one tribe. What do you mean by one of them? You mean individuals?
She could stick her finger up that guy's butt. I don't know.
I'm good.
What? He's muscular. Look at him.
Jeez, I didn't know you were gonna go like penetrate. I thought you were like
I said in.
I thought it was like, you know, shrink down into a machine and explore his ears and get an
That's
educational...
still penetrating on some level.
Well, it's like infiltrating. It's different, Ryan.
When does it change from infiltrate to penetrate?
Because she would be
Kate, you're an
going
expert
in
on
there for an
penetration.
educational, biological journey, not to sexually
So
harass
wait,
from the
you're
inside.
saying a doctor sticking his finger up a man's butthole to check his prostate is penetration?
Is more sexual than Magic School Bus antics, yes.
Are you sure? I watched a lot of Magic School Bus.
I did too.
It's pretty sexual.
Didn't they enter like 2 of them in 2 separate episodes?
Like 2 bodies or 2?
Yeah, like...
Wasn't there a human body episode?
Yeah, there was like one where they went inside Ralph and one
There
where
was
they
a
went inside
game.
Arnold.
Did you ever play the game? And you
I
could like...
think I had 1 or 2 of them.
I really like that he managed to see Peter for like a split second and stomp on the necklace so he can have it.
This is the Aboriginal guy.
I figured.
No, she's not Aboriginal, Kate.
No, he is.
Jeez. Oh, he is?
Jack
Good.
Charles.
What a great name. He's got... Yeah, I love those people who have 2 first names. Oh,
What about Hugh Jackman? Does that... No, sorry, I'm thinking
What?
I'm thinking Jackson, sorry.
What are you on about? Hugh Jackman.
I knew a guy called Jackson, and I got Jackson mixed up.
and Jackson are completely different names.
Have you heard that joke that Hugh Jackman's actually an alien who thought that Jack Human was too, unsubtle?
No, I haven't actually.
Yes, you have. I just told it now. Doofus.
No, I still wasn't listening.
1 out of 10, right?
We call this the memory tree. You know what I like about this memory tree? They later on enter the memory water. Do you remember that?
Is that stop motion?
I think it's animation that look like stop motion, you know?
Okay.
Well,
It still looks pretty cool.
It could be.
Yeah, they got the people from Coraline to do it. Just in
Actually,
this
it looks
spare
pretty
time.
complicated. I guess it wouldn't be stop motion.
I don't know. I saw Kubo and the 2 Strings, and that movie was pretty complicated. And look, it's his wooden mother. See, they couldn't get Amanda Seyfried to come back because she was just too like...
Ryan, if you're gonna call her Siegfried, at least do your running joke from the Red Riding Hood episode.
What, Siegfried and Roy?
Yes.
They couldn't get Siegfried and Roy because one of them
Amanda, Siegfried, and Roy.
Amanda, Siegfried and Roy because one of them had been mauled by their own tiger too much. That was Amanda, surprisingly. Who would have guessed?
Dang.
And then, okay, so I get lost in the bit of the mythology there, Bartek.
Wait,
His dad was...
It's called a pan flute and his name Pan.
No, like...
It's clever,
No, his dad was a fairy. So, he turned into a human because...
Who turned into a human?
His dad. His dad turned into a fairy and could only live for 1 day. That's like what the story tells you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, he only could live as a human for 1 day and then he died. You obviously don't know because you're already like, I don't know this.
What's your question?
When did he penetrate her to have fairy kid? Was it the day that he became a human or what? Like
I assume when he became big enough for his pee-pee to go inside her.
You don't know how fairies work.
Do you?
Yes.
Give it to us, Ryan. We're listening. Kate,
I listened in at the wrong
Kate
time.
and I are not listening.
Kate was not watching the movie.
I was watching this movie.
Kate, how are you getting impregnated by a fairy? It's simple. You grab a fairy and put it on Kate's finger.
Was that all?
Kate specifically?
Kate specifically's finger. She goes to whatever member of the tribe, in this case, Peter's mum, and sticks that finger up.
Peter's mum wasn't a member of the tribe. She was a human.
Yeah, but she was a member of a tribe.
The human
Because
tribe?
she was with them. She taught them how to be fighters, so she was a member of the native tribe eventually. So,
Okay.
fuck you. She was her mother figure, basically. So, Kate gets the fairy dad and sticks it up Peter's mum. up the vag, because that's where the babies come from, not the butthole. Don't get that confused.
Yes, yeah, go on.
That's where the poop comes from. And the fairy, being small enough, can just fly up there and just, like, kick the egg.
And how many years ago... How old is Peter again? He's like 12?
12. Kate's old enough to use her finger.
How old was Kate in 2000? No, we shouldn't ask at ages.
Kate,
but she was probably,
you're a lady.
Tell
us how old you were when
Kate
Peter
was probably a bit
born.
young when Peter was conceived.
So, Kate's been around for a while.
Okay.
Like we've said in this whole conversation, she's not really paying attention. She's too busy watching the movie.
We're saying that you're part of the reproductive cycle.
We're saying that you're the penis of the reproductive cycle.
Alrighty then, maybe
Just
I am.
See? Kate's on
Said
board.
that maybe.
Yeah? There's more than no.
Means that she doesn't know which one she was.
So
which
this
one she
sequence here is where they have a
wasn't.
pop song.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so...
Pardon me, what did the subtitle just say? I behave?
I believe.
Oh, they got...
Do you think Pan's a believer?
Well, this is
My
around...
nibs were here. Aww.
I was going to say, this is around the time of World War II.
So he's a believer.
So he is around the same time as Anne Frank, Ryan.
How interesting would this movie have been if they cast Justin Bieber?
I think I would definitely refuse to watch it if it was Justin Bieber.
You're a big Bieber fan. I heard that Kate was a believer.
No.
She stuck her finger right up there in his believe hole.
You know, while all this is happening...
Whatever that is.
While all this is happening, Hitler's doing some naughty stuff on the other side.
Yeah,
of the
you
world.
know, the natives could really fight Hitler. You know what would be interesting if the
Right.
sequel actually was like Hitler came into
Hitler in Netherlands.
Neverland and he calls it Ninerland!
Minerland.
Ninerland!
No land?
Yeah,
Okay.
because Hitler doesn't like any of this fairy gypsy nonsense.
It's always interesting when, like, period pieces or things with big lore establish that, yes, Hitler was also part of this whole conspiracy. Like in Assassin's Creed, apparently he was on the assassin side.
Oh, so he's a good guy.
Apparently, and like Winston Churchill was a Templar.
Oh, well, it's always good to paint Hitler in a good light. He's had a bad rap.
Just wanted to
Hey,
paint.
wait a moment. I just saw on Garrett Hedlund's neck a giant lump. What's that about, Hedlund? Show us your lump.
Ryan, that's pretty rude.
I'm sorry, it's just his Adam's apple, I'm sorry. Thank you, Kate. So, Kate, this is all new experience for you.
Yes.
How you feeling? Moist after it?
Pretty moist.
She's moist.
Wow, she can't even hear his voice.
It's also really hot in here.
She's moist, her finger's ready, and she's hot in here.
It's okay, Kate. Just
Splice that together in any way you want. Who
look-
knows where it's gonna go?
Just look at the turned off fan in the corner and you'll cool down.
We're doing
Yeah,
an
it
audio
helps.
podcast in comparison to the visual podcast. The fan's gonna make too much noise, Bartek.
Are you sure?
Yeah, they can't hear you sweat.
No, I mean, like, just hypothetically, would it pick up?
I don't need a hypothetical, I know.
Yeah, you smart boy.
I'm a smart man.
Do you promise?
I watched Pan, and I'm really trying to dig deep and delve deep into the Unappreciated Masterpieces work of this film. And it's really hard, you know, because this film works so well that it feels kind of hard to understand. This is actually one of the ones where it's actually quite hard to understand why people didn't like it.
Yeah, like I've already mentioned, a lot of people are commenting on the whitewashing, but once you look past that, it's like they just like taking that as like a excuse not to think in a way.
Yeah, and here's the thing. You know, I don't care what your opinions are on Batman vs Superman. You could say it's the best film ever made, you know, but that film has way more problems that could make that film just be a thing that exists and no others following it. Like it's a film riddled with problems in comparison to this. This captures a tone. It's not saying that this is necessarily. I'm not going to say this is a better film than that, but I'm trying to say is films that suffer from certain problems shouldn't be just thrown in the trash. Like this movie, when bigger movies that suffer bigger problems get praise on some level. Like it gets praise where it's getting a universe built after it. So you know what I mean? That's just my opinion. I think we should have had a Panverse. I would have loved Blackbeard's origin story because I actually have built up
would've been
quite a lot of background for him. Bartek, I don't know if you noticed this,
Mm-hmm.
when he's no longer wearing his wig, or when he's not wearing his wig,
Yep.
did you notice his head?
Sorry?
His head.
What about it?
Did you notice what it looked like?
It looked like there was not a patch, but there was like those tiny bits of something there.
Yes.
It was like greyish.
I looked at this. It's a giant scar on the top of his head. Like
that whole thing was a scar?
Whole thing. And you know what snapped in the brain? He has always hated the natives.
Uh-huh.
And what were Native Americans known for doing? To their enemies' bodies, specifically the head,
What were they known for doing?
scalping them.
Yeah?
And I was like, he's bald, right?
Uh-huh.
But why is it that when he regenerates, he doesn't grow hair back?
Mm-hmm.
When he's got hair on his face, and he's not shaving his head, and he's like, you know what I mean? Well, why is he wearing a wig? You know, like, so, and you could go, he's bald, but when he takes that wig off, he's got a scar that looks like someone who's been scalped, and sometimes people survive from a scalping. So I think, isn't it kind of interesting
So
that
this is Canada. Because Canada's in North America, and you said Native Americans.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they're Inuits, so if we have to be...
It's still North America. They're still natives.
Fat guy died. Haha.
His name's Fat.
So what do you think about that idea? Like, I think it's actually quite an interesting idea. Like, they kind of hint towards, like, with that kind of thing, him versus natives who use the weapons of Native Americans. Like, I mean, he has such a hatred for them.
But maybe if it was like a darkish kind of red, I'd agree with you.
But it's old. He's like a gajillion years old.
Turn grey?
Yes. Yes.
Yes?
Especially if they're on your head where your hair's supposed to grow. Like on top.
Oh, like your scalp.
Yeah, on your scalp. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Plus, also, remember, his character's supposed to be like a gajillion years old.
This is where the dust clouds happen.
I really like the dust clouds.
Yeah, I like the dust too, but you see what I mean? It's just like,
pretty.
boom, he just shoots him with it, and it explodes dust.
but-
but I don't think it turns him
But
into
you were
dust.
saying that it comes out of the gun.
Yes, where it comes out of the guns. Like, you see dust filtering out of the guns, but it's not like he's shooting them and they explode into dust. It's shooting something that explodes dust. And it just cuts so that you never see them again.
Well, I mean, yeah, but you keep
victim.
saying all this cut stuff, but...
Like, look how it's, like, it doesn't show permanent death in this movie, because it's a kid's film, isn't it, Kate?
Yeah,
they cut
gotta be
away, they didn't
sensitive
show the
about that
kid hit the
stuff.
ground. Look at that, like, they cut away, it's back to Peter, and then later on, spoiler alert, the chieftain dies. We don't see what happens to this guy, though, do we? The jumping guy.
Oh, the guy that looks like a
Yeah,
guy?
him.
That's a good question.
The chief gets shot, and the thing we see is Peter's face covered in the dust, and then he runs away. You know what I mean? And it's a movie where, obviously, since it's trying to meet a kid-friendly thing, they can't show the permanency of death. So, like, you know, stuff like that. Look, he shot him. There was no powder. Weird. And, you know...
Well, his gun doesn't shoot powder.
Yeah, but he grabbed the other guy's gun, too.
But his gun doesn't shoot powder.
Yeah, but he fired off 2 shots just and
He's
bam, bam.
He's a good guy. He uses different weapons. Different killing devices.
And, you know, it's this kind of thing where they use the cuts to let you know that you didn't see any deaths happen, except for the fat guy, because it's funny because he was fat, and he fell. And
Well, they made a joke about it.
yeah, if they make a joke about murder, it's okay.
It's a fat guy. Who cares? It's funny. He falls on the ground. Could have been like, boom.
It's an interesting place for Blackbeard to put his gun.
Where did he put it?
It's on his chest.
I guess it's kind of like easy to reach.
Easy access.
It's kind of annoying. Kind of like...
I guess, but you don't have to like twist your wrist or anything.
yeah,
You just
but
go,
if you're in a straight combat, but like doing it just from the holster, it's pretty simple.
I guess it's to differentiate him from Mr. Cowboy in that like he doesn't look like a cowboy, so he doesn't have it at like his hip, maybe. But that's assuming that the film wants us to see Hook as a cowboyish looking guy, which
Yeah.
to be fair, they're not really trying not to do that.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think they get turned into powder because the pirates don't have magic, really.
It's Neverland, Ryan.
Yeah, but
You
the
gotta
pirates,
believe.
but the pirates don't do that though. That was the whole thing about Peter Pan. Hook used practical stuff, and he's versing someone with magic. Like that's the thing. You got to believe he can fly, all that kind of stuff, right? They never age. Hook loses a hand, and he uses swords and like more grounded reality,
Blackbeard-
military logic. And Peter Pan's like, no, I'll just fly.
Blackbeard has not lost his hand. He still believes in the good of the world.
But Blackbeard doesn't... That's Hook, not...
Yeah, but he's being like Blackbeard's the one in this movie. You know, like
This
a lot
ain't
of
the
running
hook you
around, a
want.
lot of running around. Makeup's on point.
Oh, makeup's on point. Yep.
The makeup's on point. Like, at no point is it skewed or... There's a point in this movie. I really liked it. The scene in which Cara Delevingne is a mermaid. All three of them. And they're all submerged in water, and Tiger Lily's makeup, still perfect. Still perfect.
Did she go in the water?
Yes. Remember they're in the memory water?
Wasn't it Peter that went in the water?
No, it was her. She's like, this is memory water. You dunk under. She dunked him under, but they all got kicked off the raft.
Did they all fall in the water?
They all fell in the water at one point.
That scene just kind of, it ended and like you didn't really get talked about much at the end, so it didn't really, like, I remembered the mermaids and it was like a, you know, very very beautiful scene, but didn't really stick with me till the end, because that's when after that it was like all the crazy fantasy stuff happened.
And you know, this is the emotional part of the movie about to happen, Kate, in which yeah, the shrieking. No, in which our favourite character unfortunately dies. The bird. Like, I was really torn up about that guy. I named him and everything. He was the real Smee. Because Smee betrayed us all in this movie, which is actually like a real Smee kind of action.
So you're saying that Smee is Judas?
Yeah, he's the Kate of this world.
Okay.
Because Kate betrayed us by not watching the full film. And also, she turned into a cat for the last movie that we were
Ryan, go easy on her. She's had a hard time getting back into human.
And Kate's reaction is a visual one.
Know how many buildings you have to jump off of?
9.
Yeah, that was pretty intense.
Yeah.
9.
And she didn't have the courtesy of a, you know, parachute suddenly appearing out of nowhere.
Yeah, so this is the dramatic scene in which we revealed that Blackbeard was the one who killed the mother. Bum bum.
Mama?
Yeah, he stabbed her with a sword.
He killed Mama?
And Mama, you know what I really liked about the sequence later, Bartek, in the river, where I call it memory water? It's like, look at the memory water, you'll get memories of something you never saw. And it's like, oh, okay. And the memory is, yeah, Blackbeard did kill her. The end. Like, you got told this, but it's like, oh, the revelation is, she fought him. Oh, okay. Cool.
Neither of you have played Final Fantasy IX, have you?
No, not number 9.
You know Kate. She's always into the Final Fantasy games.
I've only
Seven, she knows, but this movie, a lot of things have just been really reminding me of places, locations in the world of Final Fantasy IX. Like, you remember when they were escaping on the ship and there were like the big walls?
Yeah.
In the first continent of that game, there is a whole system of like flying airships, and sections of it are separated by walls like that, and they're hard to get past. And also, we were talking about the memory water, like seeing other people's memories, was it?
Yeah.
The final dungeon of that game is called Memoria, where literally that happens all the time. Like, people are seeing other people's memories and wondering, what's going on here? This film, I feel like, is inspired heavily by that game.
Fantastic.
Fantasy Final Line.
Kate, although you did not watch the entire film, we do have a little treat for you, don't we, Bartek?
Is it time?
It's time.
Okay.
Bartek found a quiz, everyone. And Bartek, what is the quiz called? Kate, you're going to do the quiz. You have to choose the answers that Bartek gives. So Bartek will read the questions out.
Yeah.
So
when the answers, and you have to choose which answer you're going to go with. But Bartek, you go.
Just to establish, Kate, when you came on for the Shaggy Dog, that was the second time ever that I was bringing in like quiz questions to the show.
Okay. Yep.
And that was back with like actual quizzes, like, oh, what is the answer to this? And I was like bringing in funny answers.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and this time too, I bring in quizzes that are like a, you know, which character are you kind of quiz. And I found this quiz. This one is, does Blackbeard like you?
Does he like you, Kate? Okay.
No, I don't think so.
Well, that's your opinion, but now you're going to answer about a dozen questions that will determine if he likes you or not.
Yeah.
And I will read you all of the questions and all the answers, much like with the same energy that I feel like this quiz gives us.
Alright.
So question 1. Roleplay. Hey, very perky, I know, hope you like this. Number 1. You are kidnapped with Peter and a bunch of other orphans. You soon enter a mining pit and see the so-called leader. He looks at you and wink at you. And these are your 5 options. You blush, smile and look away. You glare and keep an icy gaze on him. You look away in disgust. You smile. You smirk and wink back.
The last one.
Smirk and wink back. Kate, you little flirt. Because she knows it's ripped Jackman.
Jack Human. Number 2. You're working in the mines and the other miners pick on Peter. You decide to fight one of the nasty pirates who made fun of Peter. You get in trouble and I told you have to face Blackbeard.
Yeah.
And I told you have to face Blackbeard. You. Number 1. You're excited to see him. You can't wait. You've had a crush on him. 2. You knew you wouldn't get in trouble. You'll talk your way out of it. 3. Small punishment. 4. Death. He kicks you off the plank.
Small punishment?
Small punishment.
His dick ain't small, come on.
Number 3. Number 3. You meet Blackbeard in his room and apparently his crewmate is helping put on his gear and he has this look that will make anyone fear him, but for you, you think it's A, sexy. He's too adorable to look fearful to you. 2, you roll your eyes. You know that look. 3, pretty much scares you. 4, pee your pants scared.
What's the question?
You've entered Blackbeard's room and someone's helping him put on his clothes.
Oh, that's sexy.
Oh, so the first one's sexy, he's too adorable to look fearful to you?
Yeah, because you're not afraid of him.
Let's go with that one. Why not?
Okay.
Come on, Kate.
Question...
Do you want to know if Blackbeard likes you or not, damn it?
Question 4. You have to walk the plank and face Blackbeard. You, A, walk up to him, kiss him, and tell him how much you liked him.
Yeah.
2, walk the plank? Nope. 3, resist but die anyway. 4, just walk the plank.
Walk the plank? Nope.
Nope. Sassy.
Yeah.
Okay, question 5. You wake up in Blackbeard's room, not sure how you got there. You walk to the window and you suddenly hear his voice behind you. You, A, you fall under his deep voice, so sexy. Oh. 2,
that's an answer.
2.
That's 1.
2, you turn around and smile knowing that voice. 3, you turn around pretty scared. 4, try to escape.
Turn around pretty scared.
Okay.
Oh, now you're scared.
Okay. 6, you two have a pretty emotional talk and he asks if you would kill him. You, A, say no, you would never and how you feel about him. 2, you weren't sure. 3, tell him to man up and you would never. 4, you'd kill him.
You read that so serious.
What was one before? What was the third answer?
Tell him to man up and you would never.
Yeah, that one.
Typical
Nice.
Kate. She's a
7,
killer.
Peter's back. Peter steals a ship and you are currently in Blackbeard's room. You see him get mad. You, A, you calm him down. B, you laugh. C, you shrug it off as nothing. D, you think he deserves it.
I laugh.
Okay.
No, the first letter, this is just a letter, not the word.
The grammar's been pretty good so far, but now it's... You see Blackbeard renew himself. You think A, sexy. B, perfectionist, in bracket, rolls eyes. C, this is why we mine, digging our hands raw for tiny lumps of pixum. Or 4, disgust-faced.
Disgust.
Disgust-faced.
Not disgusted face, just disgust face.
9.
That's what got me.
I think this is Ryan's favourite one.
Yeah.
You go with Blackbeard to get Peter. You find Smee and Blackbeard demands certain things. You find this A, damn sexy. B, boy. C, he is captain. Or D, Ryan, what is D?
I think the fuck not. That's when I realized the quiz really wasn't for any kid involved. Like, I thought, oh, it's on the borderline right now, but the word fuck came into it, and I'm like, oh, okay.
So which one?
Which one? Damn sexy boy! He is captain.
I think the fuck not.
I think the fuck not too, but I also love the simplicity of he is captain.
Yes.
He is captain.
Okay, 10. Him taking Peter's necklace off with his sword in one quick move. A, it's not a question, I know. A, damn, smirk. B, okay. C, the things I do in the name of friendship. Or D, oh hell nah.
Oh hell no.
You're not gonna be his friend, are you? I was his... Yeah, no.
Okay, this one is he dies, and in brackets, I cried at this. And your 4 options are, no, come back, I love you. B is, damn, in all caps. C is just tears.
In all caps, sir.
And 4 is yes!
Tears.
Tears. And I think this is the last question. He doesn't die, Peter dies. A. Kisses him, I love you. B. Desperate much, dude? C. We're doomed. Or D. No! Kill me now!
We're doomed.
We're doomed. Oh, and here we go, calculating results. Does Blackbeard like you?
Yeah, dude!
You're best friends!
Well, I was Blackbeard's best friend.
You
Bartek.
two are more buddy than romantic. Besides, he was always too busy for a girlfriend. As a matter of fact, you and Bishop was his main best friends, and that all you two would ever be. Oh,
Yeah.
Bishop's the black guy.
No, that's actually the little dude.
I thought it was Boris, but no, it's Bishop.
No, it's the little dude.
No, Bishop's the black
the
guy.
little dude. No, it's the black guy.
I only got acquaintances, and they misspelled acquaintances.
So we missed a lot during that quiz, but really, what we missed out on was the foreshadowing of him losing his hand to a crocodile. Rooney Mara looking dead gorgeous with that makeup. I mean,
Did he
hasn't.
actually just lose his hand?
No,
No.
it's foreshadowing that he would lose it to a crocodile. He's afraid of crocodiles.
Oh, that
He
was
put his
pretty
hand in
clear.
the water, and she's like, "There's crocodiles in this water," and he grabbed
like,
it, and he's
nope.
like,
It
"Oh
was,
no!"
it was teasing you. It's like, oh, is he gonna lose
It's
his
like
hand?
teasing you with his hook hand that is not hooked yet. Which hand is it? Is it his right hand?
I think it's his left.
Oh shit, that's alright. If he's right-handed, he's fine. He's still got his sword arm.
What if he does things with his left hand? and
Well,
you're
fuck.
good?
He has to get used to it, doesn't he? Oh, that was very harsh.
That was a very good answer, Ryan.
That was too...
Yeah, I think it nailed the answer. Like, yeah, you'd have to get used to
Yeah,
it.
I really hooked it.
10 out of 10.
Really? I thought it was a bit too
I'm
insensitive.
being generous.
Oh.
I'm being generous by giving you the full marks. Like, there's nothing better.
Now, here's something I thought was interesting. I was like, oh, Peter left? That's
Yeah,
not
same.
the Peter I know. And then... Oh, no!
Especially after-
Wouldn't it be great if it was Nibs? Wouldn't it be great if it was Nibs and he's like,
I'm the chosen one.
Miss, could I have some bacon? And she's like, yes, of course.
Well,
And just
you are
like,
in Canada, of course.
yes, of course. And you see those little tassel things that she has on her shoulders? She rips them off and they've actually been bacon the whole time. And she's like, here you go. They call me Tiger Bacon because I have bacon made out of tigers. And she's just like handing him out to all the little villager kids. And then Nibs is like, oh, have you seen my friend Peter? And she's like, nah, I haven't actually. And then she's like, later on when they meet Peter, she's like, oh, there he is. And he's like, you said you never saw Peter. No, I don't. I know a Pan. And he's like, oh, that's it. I'm out of here. Nibs just goes back to the orphanage to live with the nun and she becomes his mum. Like, that's a movie I would watch.
Yep. And then she goes to the dentist.
No.
Well, no, she had an appointment. She has to go to the dentist.
Did she? Here's something I found very amusing at the end of this film. Peter flies in, Kate, to save the orphan boys. And the nun just walks in and she's completely unfazed. And I was sitting there with my girlfriend Rachel and she was like, oh, no reaction to the flying boy? I'm like, I don't think so, because she was selling them to flying pirates. I think the nun's pretty used to the flying aspect of everything.
Yeah.
Here's what I want to know. Is the nun from Neverland? Like, what's her connection with Neverland? Like, how did she get involved?
I
Another-
think she's just a dealer.
Yeah, but how did she get involved with the pirates?
Pirates were looking for boys. She has boys, you know.
Yeah, but
Kinda
like,
connects,
you know
doesn't
what I mean? Like, at what point, what was she getting out
What's
of
the
it?
backstory? What's the first movie?
What's
backstory?
her Blackbeard connection? Blackbeard's origin story. I would watch Blackbeard's movie.
Well, as we've just learned, Blackbeard's too busy to have a girlfriend, so it can't be that.
Well, she's a bride of Christ, so she wouldn't be
She
interested
might
anyway.
not have been at the time.
Nah, she's always been a bride of Christ.
Oh, is that her backstory?
Yeah, she was born into the habit.
Okay.
So, Bartek, in a moment, we're going to get the line that I was kind of not wanting to spoil for Kate, in which they open up and he sees the Pixum, and he says quite loudly in front of everyone. At this point, it's still a mystery to everyone what he uses the Pixum for. Like, it's never revealed to anyone, because remember, they're like, oh, we don't know. Because he likes to keep it secret. But he sees all this Pixum, and he shouts in a declaring manner, I'm going to live forever, or like, oh, I'm going to live for all of eternity, which gives you his motivation. Like, he's going to mine all of this to live forever. That's his whole motivation. He wants to live forever. He doesn't want to die. That's basically it. Like, you got that from his conversation, too, where it's like, you're gonna kill me. And he's, like, really sad about it because he doesn't want to die. He's a guy who fears death. Again, very, very, very Star Warsian Potter as well. You know, the people who fear death.
Eternity beckons.
Yeah, eternity beckons. I will live forever. That line just gives you what he's gonna do. And then he literally grabs flamethrowers and starts exterminating them. Without, like, skipping a beat. And I like the fact that the fairy's reaction to being flamethrowered is just to move closer. He's owning this movie. I kept writing to Bartek. I wrote to Bartek once I finished it. I'm like, Hugh Jackman owned this movie. And I think that's the saddest thing about the film too, is he dies, or it's implied he dies. Like, he crashes and he's like, oh, and it falls. And you assume death. But that's the thing. If there was a sequel, who knows? Maybe he might have lived. Who knows? Like, he's just such an engaging character. And that's that thing, isn't it, with movies, where certain characters, especially villains, who die, and you're like, oh, how are they ever going to top that? And sometimes they don't. Like, you know, you miss that. Like, when Phantom Menace, mentioned it before, Darth Maul had a lot of potential. People love that character, even though he's not much of a character in that movie. Like, you know, it's an expanded universe and all that kind of stuff.
The movie's not loved, but he is.
Yeah, and he has his whole expanded universe and Clone Wars and all that story, but, like, they squandered him as a villain, possibly, for the movies. You know, like, you could have had him in more of the movies, and it would have been great.
Yeah, Dooku got 2 movies.
Dooku.
Kinda.
And, you know, like, you could have had, you know, that go on. It's like this character. It's like, maybe killing him is what killed the movie. For the general masses. Maybe Hugh Jackman just dies and people are like, that's it, I'm getting out of my seat. And they just leave.
Like not connecting themselves to this potential trilogy or
exactly. Something. And they're just like, my Wolverine don't die, he's fine. And he's using his adamantium claws to climb up.
But what if in the sequel Darth Maul's the villain?
In this?
In the sequels to this.
Yeah.
They'll be like, well, we gotta come back.
And, wait. Yeah. So...
Yeah, I know where you're going with this, I think. I might know.
Predict.
Blackbeard will be in the next Star Wars film.
No, completely wrong.
Oh.
Blackbeard, the opening to the next Pan movie is Blackbeard's falling and he goes, oh, and then on his ship, a pair of legs just smack onto the deck. And he's like, what? And then the top half of Darth Maul just smacks onto the deck. And he's just like, help me! And he's like, oh, I've got some Pixum here. And just like, like, heals him up. And then they both team up together to take on everyone else. Like, it's a tag team effort. And Hayden Christensen is in it as Hook's dad.
Oh, you can have all these things like Blackbeard's like, so what kind of fairy magic do you use this force? And it's like, it's not fairy magic.
It's called midichlorians.
Yeah, it's midichlorians, you idiot. You have some too, I can sense it.
So, this is where, you know, Peter's jumping around, and now, you know, Tiger Lily's jumping too. She can jump, and Smee betrayed them. Okay, you know?
So whose side is Smee on then? Is he with
he's on
Pirates,
Smee's side.
He's on Blackbeard's side, but he doesn't want to be, I guess.
He's on Hook's side in the end.
Yeah.
We know that for sure. But in this fight sequence, he's on their side in the end because he betrays the pirates by pulling a piece of rope. And then the pirates lit. And do you ever see Smee again? No, wait.
Is he in the ending sequence?
I think maybe, but like last thing you see of him in this big CGI battle at the end is Smee just get punched the fuck out by some pirates, or like implied that, because he's like, rope, and then all these pirates like, oi, you, and just like start swinging their arms at him, and then it just cuts and you just never see him again.
Did he get killed by one punch?
Yeah, he's One Punch Man.
Oh no.
Get it? Cut in, because he's using a sword. See, the whole prophecy angle, maybe that's something that doesn't work. Is there a prophecy in film that works for you, Bartek?
The Phantom Menace.
No, works, I said.
The Phantom Menace.
What is the prophecy in the Phantom Menace? No, I'm being genuinely serious.
He's
right?
gonna bring balance to the Force. Yeah, I don't know.
No.
Harry Potter, maybe?
Yeah, the chosen one. See, look, I don't know. I think that's a scar along his head. Is Harry Potter?
It does look like a scar.
Harry Potter, actually, yeah, a lot of people are really into that one because there's a whole thing of both Harry and Neville are both prophesied, and one of them has to, like, do a thing in the end, and it's like, oh, obviously Harry did this thing, but if you actually look, Neville did this and this and this, and it was actually really well done. I haven't really delved
Like
deep.
the Lord of the Rings one was alright with the whole ring.
Oh, his head.
Yeah.
So where's that scar?
You see that? That looks like a nasty scar.
Oh yes, that's.
See? That looks like a
Yes,
nasty
okay,
It's
that-
a bit of a scalping sort of.
It looks like he
Yeah.
got scalped.
Yeah.
And it's never explained.
Yeah, I forgot about.
And
that.
that's what I like about this movie. It takes the risks to leave things open. And things that may not have ever been answered in the sequels if they were ever going to make them. Like, why would they have to answer if he got scalped? I think it's just nice that it lets the audience, even small children, be like, maybe he got scalped or not. Or maybe it's not even that. And Hugh Jackman just shaved his head a bit too close.
Or maybe it was just.
We don't know.
Maybe it was just Truth or Dare gone wrong.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Maybe he was trying out for the new Professor Xavier role. You know, when they were doing the Days of Future Past, he was like, oh, whoops, wrong film. Like, he actually thought he was going to be Xavier instead of Wolverine.
I
And he was
haven't-
like, whoops, I might as well do this for something.
I haven't seen
Pan.
that one, but I've seen First Class, and Wolverine has a cameo in that.
Wolverine's like the main character of Days of Future Past. Isn't that right, Kate?
Yeah.
Kate and I saw that in the cinema
We did.
together. Fun fact.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
enjoyed that one.
Not this? We should have seen this in the cinema, and then you could have been like, Hugh Jackman
Jack Human.
gets the finger. That's what she would have given. Okay, can your rating at the end of this be, I give it a finger?
Alright.
Alright.
Yeah, good improvising there, Ryan. Giving her things to do, just doesn't get to carp with her own.
No, fuck you.
Fuck me.
That could be your rating.
Okay. I've already been rating things throughout this episode, and by things I mean things you say.
So I give it a 10 out of 10.
I already gave you one.
And this is where she's like, am I going to die? Because holding this is really hard. But Smee, he puts his foot down, literally.
Yeah.
And then, and then we never see him again. I don't think. Maybe when the fairies start.
Maybe it got implied that something really bad happened.
Maybe the person put their hand on his shoulder and said, good job. I'm proud of you. And they're like, and he's like, wait, what? And he's
Good that you finally put your foot
wait,
down.
and he's like, it's good that you finally did that. And it turns around and it's Dustin Hoffman dressed up as Hook from the movie Hook. And he's like, I'm Hook. I'm the real Hook.
Wanna come with me to a Robin Williams film?
Now, here's very interesting. This movie's an origin story for all these characters, right?
Yeah, for a new interpretation of the Pan story.
And
Yeah.
I honestly thought, okay, where did all the pirates go?
Well, how did all the pirates get there?
What do you mean? Whoops.
What, you mean the flying ship?
No, I just...
What do you mean? Oh, how did they get in Neverland?
Yeah.
Weren't they orphans?
They
They
all...
grew up?
Well, we don't know because, do we? Hook doesn't even tell his backstory truthfully, though.
No, we don't know.
He said he
Bit
lies.
of a joker?
Yeah. Like, we don't know the backstory. Here's the thing. My thing to wrap around my brain with this was Hook. When I think of Hook, in this movie, his whole thing is he wants to go back home, doesn't know whether outside of Neverland. He wants to leave Neverland.
Home is a concept that you explore through his character. Like, home is where you're from. It's like, no, home is what you make it.
Yeah, and he wants to leave Neverland. That's all, like, he wanted
Yeah.
for a moment, right?
Yeah.
It really challenged me because the Hook that I interpret or kind of create is a guy who is from Neverland. Like, I never thought of him as, like, a human, like, you know what I mean, that's from somewhere else. I thought he was a person from Neverland, like, he's a thing from Neverland, and his whole thing is he just wants to rule Neverland, you know what I mean? Like, that's his goal. He wants to be the best, he wants to be the feared, he wants to be the top dog of Neverland. And it just challenged me to see Hook in this movie not want anything to do with Neverland. Like, he's like, I'm done, like, I'm out of here. Like,
Yeah,
it challenged
it's-
everything to my being of him as a
It's
character.
almost a completely different interpretation of Hook himself.
Almost?
Very.
Well, he's still called Hook. They got that right.
Oh, is that the
And
most
he was
important
mining
part?
with a hook at the start of the film too.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe he used a hook.
I just assumed it was a pickaxe.
No. He used a pickaxe, but when
I know, I'm just saying I assumed.
No, but when he dug that hole between the jail cells of them, he used a hook to kind of get all the debris rocks out. It was kind of neat. But, like, the Hook that I would have done in this movie would be the similar character to this, but instead of just escaping the mines, he would have escaped it and tried to, like, screw shit up. Like, that's how I would imagine Hook. Like, he wouldn't just leave Neverland. He would get an army or amass weapons and come back and kill. Like, that's a Hook I would do. Like, you know, but this is a different version. And that's what you got to appreciate. And, like, the thing that I hear is a lot of the criticisms against guy who plays Hook. I see it. I understand. That guy's a snappy dresser. I see it and I understand. But the thing I like is in my reviews, and Bartek, I hope in the comments that you have, is everyone agreed thus far that the kid who plays Peter Pan he's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel good for him because, you know, the kid cried when he got the role. Like, he was so happy because Peter Pan's one of his favorite characters.
I read
so
I read like story about him, like he used to play Peter Pan and he got like an award for it, and that he was picked out of like multiple thousands of kids. So I imagine that he would have been pretty damn happy.
And like, how would you feel, you know, as a small kid, this is your big one, your opener of your career.
Yeah.
And it's your favorite character. It's your and you're doing a fantastic job, but maybe the film that you're in or the product that you're in around you just doesn't live up to it. And, you know, that's the thing. We probably would never get to see this kid again as Peter Pan in a film. A live-action film.
That makes me sad.
You know,
that's sad, isn't it? Like, and it's not his fault. He's done a great job. And I hope that maybe
The thing is,
they do that
he
thing...
wouldn't be able to play Peter Pan again because he never grows up.
Oh, but in this movie, he hasn't gotten that ability yet. But who knows? Like, you know what I mean?
you know,
I just thought in Neverland you didn't age in Neverland.
No, Peter chooses not to grow up. That's his whole deal, and he makes the others grow up. Isn't that his whole thing, is he doesn't want to grow up?
Probably, yeah.
I mean, Hook ages. He's old.
I was just saying, because all of those things you were saying right there could really be applied also to Jake Lloyd and, you know, Phantom Menace. I know we kept bringing it up, but... No, but, like, think about it. You're a kid, you get cast as, like, you're in the new Star Wars film. Back then, Phantom Menace wasn't sucky yet.
How old was Jake Lloyd, though?
Dude, he was clearly, like, no more than 11, maybe even 9.
He looked young in those movies,
He
didn't
did,
he?
yeah. I think
if
he
you
was
were to ask
single
me
digits.
how old he was, I would have said 8.
Yeah, and
7
like,
or 8, but he's clearly older.
Yeah, and you're telling an 8-year-old, hey, these Star Wars films, everyone, like, you can be the main character in
Yeah,
the
but,
next one.
like, here's the thing, though.
And then everyone hates him for it, and he's, like, depressed adult.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. Here's the two major plot differences between those. One, this kid fucking loves Peter Pan. Like, Jake Lloyd never heard much about him loving Star Wars as much. This kid loved Peter Pan. He's already played Peter Pan, for one. Which is, you know, I know it's kind of hard, but two is this kid can act. No offense, Jake Lloyd just can't
obviously,
act.
yeah.
This kid can act, so it's even more the heartbreaking that this kid will never see as Peter Pan again in a big film. Maybe.
You could get a cameo, maybe.
No, but or maybe they do that sometimes in shows or movies where someone really nailed something and it didn't work in that version, and they bring them back for another doing of it. It's like, you did really good in that. Like, you know, Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds in Wolverine Origins, he was Deadpool, and that movie wasn't very good, but what you got of Deadpool in that movie, for the little parts where he spoke, were kind of like, oh, that's kind of like Deadpool. And then, was it 11 years later, he got to play Deadpool in a proper movie about properly Deadpool or whatever? It's like, see, Hollywood has those little moments like that, and where they appreciate, oh no, this guy's right for the thing. The thing wasn't right for him. And I just hope that this kid gets that, you know? Like, it would be like the nice thing to happen in life, but it just probably won't, you know?
But, I mean, at least people really liked the kid, so at least he'll probably get something.
No, yeah, he's definitely the best part of the movie. I think, actually, in all fairness, I mean it, him and Nibs were my favourite in this movie. I really think that this movie, the real reason why it doesn't do too well is you needed Nibs in it, to be in it as that kid. To
take more of the Hook role, yeah.
Maybe not even that, but also just to be our point of view.
No,
because
but what I mean is, like, Hook's relationship with the main kid here. Like, he's the guy by his side. He's the guy who encourages him. Yeah, that's what I meant. And, like, even what Kate reacted to before. Like, he remembers Nibs. Or, like, when he was trying to, jump.
Yeah, exactly. And it's that, the thing is, with the kids, too, in comparison to the adults, and it happens less with Peter throughout the movie, hence why having another kid would be great, is like in Harry Potter and Star Wars on a level, even though Luke's grown up, is the wow factor of the environment they're in. Like, Peter's not as wowed by anything after a certain point as he should be. Like, in the Harry Potter movies where Daniel Radcliffe is still amazed by something magical and he's like 6 movies in. It's like, oh, this is kind of neat because he grew up without all of this stuff and he's kind of getting into this. This kid, like, he flies, and once he starts to fly, he's like, oh, cool, I can fly. You know what I mean? It's like, that's maybe a little criticism of that actor, but I feel like if you had a Nibs character, he can be like,
He'd still be, oh my god, I
wow,
can't
like my
believe
friend
that I'm
can, my
flying.
friend can fly.
Yeah, we
You know,
kind of get that at the end.
At the end, though, at the end, and that's the kind of thing where it's just like, oh, okay, you know, like, and
But speaking of the end,
did they get a whole bunch of new orphans?
They must have.
Or was the black kid back here? I don't know. It's like Nibs was the only one left, and now they're like full up of
well,
orphans.
he was the only one who escaped. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. But like, we never see the other kids again, so they still in the mines.
Maybe.
No,
but,
he would have freed them.
well, I
by
mean,
now.
don't you see some of them on the ship just in a second?
Yeah, I imagine so. Yeah, you see the weird little blonde kid, the creepy one. Look, he's got his little hat, Kate, with a feather.
Oh.
That's not too bad. Like, for this universe, I don't think you could actually get him in the proper little green outfit.
Nah, not in
Yeah.
this kind of film.
Well, it's set in the 40s, so maybe. Like, actually, you could. It's set in the 40s.
What if they just completely in this?
Yeah, yeah.
She's
And-
my favorite character, by the way. What if you
She's
just
pretty good.
What if
She's
you just
got a
completely recharacterize them as like the original Peter Pan? Like, hey, come with me and we'll fight that old codger or whatever he says.
Yeah, well,
Be like, oh, he's no longer what we grew up with in this film. He's
Yeah.
what we other people grew up with in the past.
he got a copy of the Disney's Pan and just mimicked it?
Yes.
Because time doesn't work in Neverland?
Oh yeah. Speaking of which, that's another thing. Some of the comments were like, Tinkerbell was barely in it.
Oh, good. I don't like Tinkerbell, if I'm honest with you. I always
No, she's
find
a bit of a
Tinkerbell to
brat.
be one of my least favourite characters. Like, even in the animated one, and people don't like Tinkerbell and Hook because it's Julia Roberts, but I was like, oh, I don't care for her too much, but I don't care for the character, I think. Fuck you, Tinkerbell. That's how I feel about Tinkerbell. A big F.
What Julia Roberts movies have I seen?
Aaron Brockovich?
No.
Really? Oh, you've missed out on your... I don't know. Mirror, Mirror? I don't know Julia Roberts'
Me,
back
but I don't know
catalogue.
very well.
She doesn't know who Julia Roberts is outside of Hook and Aaron Brockovich. I don't
She
either.
got mentioned in Goldmember.
Oh, well, there you go. That's who you know.
She wasn't there, but she was mentioned.
And look, they smile. They're smiling, and kids ruin it all. Whoops! He touched her breast. I clearly saw that. That's
Sorry.
sexual. He better get a touch in with that hand while he's still got it, right?
Well, exactly.
At least Ryan doesn't touch my breasts.
No, they're too hairy for my liking.
Well, I mean, through the shirt.
Yeah, you can still feel your hair through your shirt, man.
Not really.
I can.
Maybe if you like rub it a bit.
No,
like,
I'm
oh,
not
yeah,
grabbing
there
your
you go.
breast without rubbing it. Jeez.
That's a good point.
You got me
I
there.
can't argue with that, Ryan.
Oh, there you go. They got it at the end. But, Kate, the line to end the movie on, you don't know, do you? And I didn't either.
Give me some sugar, baby. That's the line.
No, Neverland.
Never planned.
That's what we call the German Neverland. And look, they got neon now. The Jolly Roger, which is great. It's leading up to, but wait, we'll always be friends, Hook, right? Always. What could possibly go wrong? And then, whoop! You know what I love?
What could possibly
And then
go
the ship
wrong?
explodes.
Were they ever friends in any of the versions? He always just made him lose his hand to a crocodile, yeah? And how did that happen? What was it again? Like, the clock? I remember he gets killed or eaten or whatever at
He gets
the
eaten
end.
by the croc, but I'm pretty
Because
sure
of the clock,
also
right?
Eats his hand.
But he blames Peter Pan. What did Peter do?
I think Peter might have pushed him or something.
Yeah.
They probably laughed at him.
No, actually, I'm pretty sure Peter cut it off with a sword.
No, it's a crocodile.
I think that was one interpretation, but
I-
like the Disney one introduced the crocodile, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a crocodile in most of them because he's always about the crocodile.
Is this a Disney movie?
No.
No.
Okay.
It's one of those like Brothers Grimm sort of things because the mermaids are meant to be like hella crazy.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think this is actually Disney. I don't think so. I thought it was Sony. No,
Doesn't it start
Warner
with-
Brothers.
Yeah, it doesn't start with like a.
It's not.
Yeah, it starts with that really mellow kind of Warner Brothers logo at the beginning.
Yeah, well, the movie ended. Hugh Jackman is first billed.
Jack Human.
Thanks, Bartek.
Because we're looking at space, and humans aren't from space.
But Netherlands in space.
Rooney Mara.
No, that's not how you pronounce it at all.
Oh, it's hot in here.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So, Levi Miller, good job, kid. So, I'm going to give my review and a rating out of what I feel.
His last name looked like Akhtar.
He is an actor.
Yeah.
So, Pan. Well, I think I summed it up most throughout the commentary, but I love this movie. I think it was a roller coaster ride. It had a lot of conflicting tones, and I think those actually worked in its benefit. I think the differing feelings of darkness and levity of taking what we know to be the Peter Pan and switching it around and changing things up in a more dramatic fashion, such as making Hook a cowboy and Tiger Lily a grown white woman, and not having nibs. You know, I know that's not the part of the mythos, but it's my mythos, damn it, having nibs. I gotta have some nib action. And I think it works. I think we weren't ready for it. I just think we weren't ready for it. And maybe one day the world will be ready for Pan. But just not yet. If I have to give this a rating, Bartek, if I had to...
I say you do have to.
I would give it a whole bucket load of nibs.
What flavour?
Nib flavoured.
It's a
What
pretty
shape?
solid flavour.
Huh?
It's a pretty solid flavour.
It's my favourite flavour of nibs.
Cool. Nib flavoured nibs in the shape of nibs?
Nibbers.
Nibbers.
So, okay.
Nibble on it.
Yes.
Give us a review and rating from the masterpiece of film you just watched.
I really enjoyed this movie. I think that with the interpretation, they kept that wonder of Neverland, as you see in the Disney films. And I think it was, as we were talking about, a really good mix of like a whole family movie as well. The storyline I found really interesting, especially with Blackbeard and his like want to live forever. And I also really enjoyed that sentimental moment at the end where Peter gets to meet his mum.
Yeah, what about Not Dobkins, though? My favourite character.
What about Tony Allen's as himself?
I don't know who that is.
So I would have to give this rating 4 out of 5 fingers.
She's just
No.
keeping the thumb for herself.
She upped the ante. You told her to just give her a finger.
I'm giving it 4.
4, Ryan.
All four.
It's a solid penetration.
Mm-hmm.
But
It's
a full
multi-penetration.
It's a full finger blast.
Yes.
Bartek?
I quite enjoyed it.
So I walked in probably of the bunch of us knowing the least about the Peter Pan mythos, the lore, the stories. But I brought in the fact that it's inspired the Zelda series, so that makes me the best.
I find that really interesting.
Well, I mean, you can even tell because Link wears green, Peter Pan wears green, and the hat too.
You know,
That's literally it.
leprechauns inspired Link.
There are other things, I'm sure, but I think it was mainly the look of Link. Yeah, so I walked in knowing a little bit. So I walked in with some, not misconceptions, preconceptions. Like, oh, I think this might happen. Like, oh, Hook, but he's normally the bad guy. But what's happening here? But Blackbeard's the bad guy. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?
I don't know.
But as the movie went on, I realized, yeah, this, even though I don't know the main story, this is a different interpretation of it. And because I'm the guy that on the show that looks for quizzes, I typically get that whole idea that a lot of movies we do on this show are movie entries to already existing franchises. So we've done like Starsky and Hutch, Scooby-Doo, and all that good stuff. And it always brings about an air of what do we keep and what do we change and how do we make a property that was done in this style done in live action. And I feel that this movie, and I mentioned this to you, Ryan, last night outside this show on Facebook through message chatting with our keyboards, that it felt very similar to Oz the Great and Powerful, which you did comment on before. And thinking about how it's got a lot of, I guess you could call it cliches, there's a chosen one, eventually party gets built up and things like that. It is a story that has definitely been not told before, but actually, yeah, told before, done before, but it's always interesting to look at how they do it in different ways. And yeah, this one also even addresses the whole, not even directly, the whole whitewashing issue, like, typically Native American character is being portrayed by a white girl. But also, the whole tribe she comes from is not being portrayed entirely by white people. There are people of all races, and it's building upon this idea that Neverland is outside of the reality that we know. It is a film that very intelligently, very handsomely gives us a world that is brand new with existing elements, and it doesn't have this kind of white-centric culture to it.
I've always thought of Neverland as just like a place. There's no time. It's just this place, and it could fit in any context.
Yeah, which is a real shame because there are a lot of people who are fans of original works that really demonize if something's changed, and you know that makes lambs cry. So
Hilarious.
I think I've articulated my point well enough.
What's your rating?
And that is what I have to give it now. If I have to give this film a rating, I give it all of Ryan's best jokes.
All four of them?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that you've ever told.
Oh, so 6 of them. Oh,
yes.
good.
They're not as good as my Jack Human, but they're pretty good.
Well,
reviews and comments, right?
we got reviews and comments. I'm going to read a review straight up. It's called Why the Hate?
Well, first of all, how many do you have?
5.
5? Okay, I'll maybe after every 2 or something. I don't know.
Something's Not Right by Lily Allen was in this movie. Good job.
Who's Lily Allen again?
She's a musician. Maybe that was the pop song. Who knows? But
Probably.
Why the Hate? 8 stars. Now, this review may contain spoilers, so, just saying. How dumb do you have to be to misunderstand a movie like Pan? Yeah. Because this movie has generated some of the dumbest review comments I've ever seen. There's no Wendy. Because this is a prequel. Look up pre in a dictionary. It's dark. All fairy tales are. And their modern imitations like Peter Pan or Pinocchio have to be too, to remain true to the genre. Fairy tales originated in a time when meeting wolves and bears in the woods was all too likely. And they weren't cute and anthropomorphic. Blech, anthropomorphic. I get the put in there, but you give me a break. It's hot.
I do give you a break.
Either. And the original Grimm stories, unlike their sanitized modern retellings, carried the clear message that awful things happen to naughty children who don't obey the rules. For some reason, awful children from then on, like awful things from then on, was all all of the starting letters were capitalized. Like
in the fairy tales, isn't it like all children? Or
awful things that happen to naughty children who don't obey the rules. Okay. The prize comment was someone complaining about that a flying pirate ship over World War II London was unrealistic. So name some historical periods when it was realistic.
I like that this guy's going on the, missing the point.
They're getting it all there. Overall, it's a satisfying action movie and wholly undeserving of the scorn some reviewers have dumped on it. The weakest links are Garrett Hedlund as Hook, still a good guy at this point, and Rooney Mara as Tiger Lily. Hedlund tries to be Harrison Ford, complete with Indiana Jones hat and Han Solo's flying off to save his own skin, but coming back to save the day. But he just doesn't have charisma. Neither does Tiger Lily, who's pretty but bland, and goes through life with a deer in the headlights expression. They're both stiff and lifeless. And that's the end of their review. That's the end of their review. Like, they left it on quite a sour note.
I do tend to agree with that, though. I feel like those 2 characters could have had a bit more oomph about them.
Oomphy?
Like, I felt that at moments they were kind of there because they had to be there in the story.
It's tragic, isn't it, being a character in a story?
Should I go, or do you want to go?
Yeah, let's hear a couple from you.
Alright, so the first comment was a guy who wasn't missing the point, I guess?
You mean he got the point?
This comment is, who else thought Captain Hook when they saw Hugh Jackman then went capital O, full stop, lowercase o, when it turned out the other guy who was helping Peter turned out to be Hook. That's a comment. Next comment. First major stumbling of the excellent British filmmaker Joe Wright. Peter Pan, he put that in quotes, 2015, even though the film's just called Pan, holds no resemblance to the beautiful period dramas brilliantly adapted for the cinema in Pride and Prejudice 2005 and Atonement 2007. Comparable movies. All the magic that could exist in the interesting idea of telling the origin of Neverland and the classic characters created by J.M. Barrie fails miserably in a hurry history filled with artificial visual effects of dubious quality. That leaves very few good times of Hugh Jackman as the villain Blackbeard and the fairy tale atmosphere which may appeal to young children. This guy's kind of all over the place.
Well, hey.
And this person here... This will be the worst Peter Pan film since the beginning of history. Hook? A white tiger lily? Are you kidding me?
Here we go.
Americans must be very bored or very respectless. Not disrespectful, respectless.
They're less.
When they are messing up the original like this. Robin Williams would spin in his grave if he would know about this.
Yeah, he would. Sure.
You want to go or should I go still?
I'll have one.
Alright.
This one is a 8-star review called I'll Always Believe in You, Peter Pan. Okay. I admit it. Peter Pan is one of those stories that just draws the child in me to it. Who doesn't want to learn how to fly, be friends with pixies, or never grow up and have all the anxieties of life? And whenever a new Peter Pan story is made into a film, I generally wind up. I generally wind up seeing it. At last count, I've seen Disney's animated Peter Pan and Return to Neverland, Mary Martin's Peter Pan, Kathy Rigby as Peter Pan, Hook, Peter Pan 2003, Peter Pan Live, and now Pan, and read Peter Pan in Kensington Gardens, Peter Pan and Wendy, Peter Pan and Scarlet, and Captain Hook. So you might say I am an old hand at this. Pan is a lively, different take on the tradition of Peter Pan. Not quite as bizarre or hilarious as Hook, and not quite as accurate to the original story as Peter Pan from '03. But what I know from having read about Mr. Barrie's life was that he edited Peter Pan numerous times when it was on the stage and was always looking for a way to liven things up. So this Pan keeps with that tradition. It is a fun, rollicking adventure about a boy with a destiny, a savvy yet heartfelt pirate tag-along, and a warrior princess, all battling the despot Captain Blackbeard. Spoilers after this! There is something absolutely charming about this version of Hook, who is given the full emotional treatment of a person with an actual past, not just a guy missing a hand who wants revenge. Mr. Hedlund was the ideal casting choice because he can be gruff and still very likable. And for all the complaints about Tiger Lily not being cast as Native American, might I suggest an alternative view for this?
Excuse me?
Might I suggest an alternative view for this?
Okay.
There is no way to give viewers a 100% authentic First Nations approved version of Tiger Lily. Why? Because the way Barrie wrote them was racist, and you cannot escape from it. Ever. But if you decide to make them native Neverlanders instead, you remove what could be insulting by making them a new group of people that has no connections on Earth. Instead, the native Neverlanders were a beautiful, eclectic tribe of people living in the trees, like wood elves. In bright tents and clothing, with skilled warriors and artisans. There was never a moment of disrespect to other cultures that I found, and it was a movie, this movie set apart from the others. Rooney Mara was a solid choice for Tiger Lily, enjoyable, spunky, and given some really cool fighting scenes. Blackbeard is a great villain with a purpose, and Hugh Jackman was remarkable in the role. Per usual. They just gotta chuck that in there, like, Per usual. His clothing and hair was flamboyant, but not out of place in a world that is rather flamboyant and imaginative. And yes, he can be cruel and vicious. This is not a film for little weans. And as Blackbeard does kill children, implied, no impact scene though. Yes. See, I like how they point that out. And Peter Pan himself is a pretty brilliant marvel. Zachary is a newcomer, but a fine young actor, quite likable and holds an impressive array of emotions. Peter is his usual self, albeit in a slightly different story, marked by determination and the ability to lead. Unfortunately, this story did kill a little of the childlike wonder and glee Peter usually has, but then, so did the film Hook. I'm giving this an 8 out of 10 stars because the casting is very solid, character development is good, setting is spectacular, and plot is mostly sound. The only things I didn't like were the sort of Oliver Twist beginning with the mean nuns, which has been done to death, folks, and the plot all of what happens to all those men and boys in the mine. Did Peter just leave them there, or did he return them home? You decide. But I recommend it wholeheartedly. Just be aware that it can be a bit scary, and some smaller children may not do so well on the scale On the scale of favorite Peter Pan films, it ranks just behind Kathy Rigby as Peter Pan and Hook, which isn't bad at all. It keeps Barry's fun story alive for a new generation until the next one is made. See you at the movies. That's the end of that review.
Barry's fun story with the racism.
Hey, racism can be fun sometimes.
You want to read another one?
No, you go on.
Okay.
That was a longie.
So this next one, it's a guy who gets what this film was doing.
He got something.
They aren't reusing old movies and just changing them up a bit. They're expanding, giving more life to stories we've loved in the past. It's a genius idea. This movie will be phenomenal because it's not about Peter and Wendy or a much older Peter. It's about how Peter came to be and his relationship with Hook. Backstories are always great. It gives characters reason and stories meaning.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And this next one, you guys like sarcastic people? You like obnoxious sarcastic people?
Oh yeah, you know me. I really love sarcastic people.
Oh, you don't like him? Oh, well, Ryan.
Help Bartek. I'm being sarcastic.
You know what this guy says? He says, "Oh, I get it. This is a fantasy film, smile." He wrote smile at the end there. This explains why they have such a high percentage of Caucasians playing most of the roles in the film, lol. They simply overlooked the fact that they left most of these so-called minorities out of the film. They simply overlooked the fact that Caucasians are less than 10% of the world's population, which would make them a minority, I guess.
Don't bring that up.
There's a bright side to my comment. With Christmas and the holidays approaching, I'm sure the movie companies will not miss a chance to depict Santa Claus, he put an E at the end, so I read it wrong, in his correct and proper images, as a black man. I'm sure everyone by now is aware of the fact that Santa Claus was a black Roman saint. Just don't tell Megyn Kelly.
I don't know who Megyn Kelly is.
Me neither. And there's a response to this one. Break those chains of oppression, brother. I'm sure Medea Claus is coming to town. Will be shown in theaters this Christmas.
Oh, fuck.
Now, Ryan, do you remember last night when I was chatting to you on Facebook? I said that the quiz and one other comment really got me into the giggles.
Yeah, get into the giggles.
One of the responses to this comment is the one that got me into the giggles.
Oh, good. I can't wait for
this. The initial comment. Hook was by far the best Peter Pan movie. R.I.P. Robin Williams.
Oh.
Response. Agree! And come to my channel if you want to see something cool related to this. : capital P. Response. Will do. And this response. Ironically, I am writing my own untold story of Peter Pan, and I wish I wrote it sooner before Robin Williams passed away, because it probably would have prevented him from committing suicide.
What? Wow, that got you into a giggle, huh?
Yeah, it
wow.
was unexpected. And in fact, my brother said something and I wrote it down. He said, he could have saved him if he wrote the fanfic sooner. What a legend!
Well, I got a 10-star review here, guys. Yes, 10 stars. It's called About Peter, which one of yours had about as well.
Yeah.
It may contain spoilers. So here we go. This is a great movie that I suggest all of you should watch this movie. Well, this movie has taught me a lot of things. When Peter didn't listen to other words, but all he did is just believe in himself. All he did was believe. Did I mention this was written in America? Believe in himself that he can meet his mum one day. Peter's a smart.
Go on, Ryan. What did he say?
Peter is a smart boy and an optimistic person. He's not afraid to be different. He's not afraid to stand up. He's such a brave boy. However, his action really inspired me, and I think I should be like him in my life. After I watched this movie, I feel so confident. In my life, I shouldn't give up easily. I should stand up.
And not listen to other words?
No, I should stand up and face all the conflicts in front of me. End of review. That's it.
Does he write end of review?
No, that's just me.
Okay.
Just end of review. And I'll read one more for you. 8 stars. There is a genuine spirit to this movie. Contains spoilers, Kate, in case you need to know.
Okay, I'm ready.
I'll tell you right off. There are elements borrowed from other stories. The Blitzkrieg from Chronicles of Narnia comes to mind. And then the nun raises the Jolly Roger. And something gets odd. In a good way. And then you have the unorthodox chase sequence that can't possibly end in a way you imagined. Unless the sequence is from the book. I'm writing this review as I'm watching it. Okay. I'm writing this review as I'm watching it. I've never done that before. But you meet Blackbeard and the movie has this energy that could either blow up its premise or launch it towards something very entertaining. Let's just say I'm typing to get my minimum words in now. So I could go back to watching this. I have absolutely no idea what is going to happen next, but I want to find out. And that's the end of their review.
That's it?
And then
That sells me on the movie.
and then I went to that user's thing to see if he did a follow-up. That was his last review ever.
Okay.
He did like 40 other reviews previously, but that was his last one. He's never done a review since July 2016.
Oh, man.
And that was mine. Read us a few, Bartek.
Okay.
I have one left.
Okay, I've got like half a page left.
Typical Bartek.
Initial comment. Doesn't beat Jeremy Sumpter. Less than symbol 333. It's meant to be like a bunch of hearts stacked on each other, but you know. Response. Because this isn't Peter Pan yet, and also Jeremy Sumpter stopped being Peter Pan when he grew up, let's see if Levi Miller, or Levi Miller, will make the same mistake. Winky smile. This is my other favourite string of comments. Whoa! Hugh Jackman looks completely unrecognisable here.
He does.
Response. My mum is enchanted. She recognised him at first sight.
Your mum has a wet boner.
Response. I couldn't recognise him at all, even still now. That's not a bad thing. It's awesome! Response. Yeah, my mom recognises every actor no matter what. I thought that for the first time she would not, but... ... She has some magic under that. After all, she finds everything like, Mom, where's my blue shirt? In the table. I'm looking at it. It's not. It is. No, Mom, is not. I wanna show you. And in brackets, and when she appears, the shirt magically shows up when it wasn't there. So this Hugh Jackman makeup thing should have been expected. Response. Haha, this is funny because this happened to me before. How are mothers able to do this? 2 question marks. It's a mystery.
Just that end. I was like, that was pretty good, but the end of that, it's a mystery.
So initial comment for this one. Is it just me, or does the kid look like a younger version of Leonardo DiCaprio?
No, it's just you. It's just you.
No, I can say
How
that.
did you know that the first words of the response is no, just you? I have seen many people saying that in the internet about this kid. About this kid doesn't look only like him. It seems he can act as good as him. That's why, letter Y, I'm sorry for him. He will never win an Oscar. But he did.
Now times have changed.
Also, and
Oh, I thought you meant the kid. The kid's never going to win an Oscar. You don't know. He's only like 12.
so you know how I've told
Leo's
you.
now on.
Now I've told you
I
that a
know.
lot of people were complaining about the whitewashing.
Yeah.
This guy won't stand for it. He says, "Can you shitters stop complaining about ethnicity and racism and enjoy the fucking movie? Ungrateful with 2 L's at the end, cunts with too much time on they, there, with as in they are, and 2 apostrophes hands. Jeez."
Jeez. Read us a couple more.
Okay. I've been waiting for this movie to come out for months, and now that it's out, I kinda don't want the movie to spoil the magical fantasy that was created from the trailer. Like, what if the movie is worse than the 2003 movie, which I adored? Then I'll never see this star-studded magical trailer the same way, haha. Oh, who am I kidding? I'm definitely seeing this anyway, because it looks interesting and wonderful and creative and has Hugh Jackman, Amanda Seyfried, a cute kid playing Peter, and Cara Delevingne in it. Yeah, that person was like, "Oh, I don't think I'll see it." But I'll see it because
Cara was literally in one scene.
Yep. So wait, this is a prequel of Peter Pan?
Yeah.
Response, it actually is, smiley face. Response, so if Captain Hook is antagonist of Peter Pan, why in trailer there's a scene that they're friends? Response, because it's the prequel, capital D. This is their story. The film is probably showing how everything happened, brackets. You know, like how Peter and Tink met, how Hook and Peter met, how Hook lost his hand and how they became antagonists, close bracket. I'm pretty excited to finally see it, smiley face. Brackets again. They released a trailer in February, bracket again, in Germany, close bracket. And I was like, yeah, oh my god, OMG, let's watch it when it finally comes out in summer. I just thought I missed it, close bracket. Response, I know you in Deutschland. Response, yay, Deutschland. Response, but I'm not German.
Okay, let me end mine. It's a 10-star. Now, this review may shake us all to the core. It's sweet. That's the best way to end with mine is every now and then you need one that's just sweet. Not funny, not weird, sweet. A world of fantasy from a timeless story. 10 stars. Written in London, of all places. I loved this movie. I love the creative twists and turns, the unexpected friendships, and the ability to lose myself in a story from my childhood. Rejuvenated to allow my imagination to explore a timeless plot running down a new path. The acting was good enough for me to believe in the characters and want to see what will happen next. In brackets, I'm hoping for a sequel. End the brackets. For me, it's not about the special effect or the perfect screenplay. It's about wanting to immerse myself in the story and keep watching. I like that it resembled other storylines. In brackets, Hook was one of my favorites. End brackets. That made it comforting. It made it comforting.
Oh, comforting, alright. Comforting.
Yeah, comforting. Because they're English. And familiar, yet new and exciting. I'm just a person. A grandmother that likes to share an experience with my grandchildren. A mother that still wants to phone my kids and say, "Wow, you have to watch this." A professional who likes to write in our company newsletter a not-to-be-missed review. For whatever reason, technical or otherwise, that you didn't like this film, I don't pretend to understand why. But if you, like me, just want to sit with a bucket of popcorn and get lost in the fantasy, then go watch this and just lose yourself for a little while.
That is sweet.
Yeah.
Can't wait till my comments ruin the nice tone.
Yeah, but yours is like finger banging.
No, Ryan. The first.
No, it's not that
It
sweet.
ended on that one. That was sweet.
No, I need to hear Bartek's finger bangings.
Alright.
Alright, initial comment. Okay, that actor is way too hot to play Hook. Response, lol, IKR. Response, IKR, Hook is supposed to be ugly and unlikable. Response, so Colin O'Donoghue from Once Upon a Time Sorry, so's Colin O'Donoghue from Once Upon a Time, but I'm not complaining, lol. Response, what I was thinking! OMG, you read my mind, LOL! That was all caps and exclamation marks, so I had to try. Next initial comment.
He tried.
He did try.
I tried, just like this guy. I saw that movie, and it was good, but for the other people who saw it, am I the only one who doesn't recall Peter dropping the food ball and protesting? Or am I just losing my mind because I could swear they cut that scene, and the same for when Tiger Lily fell into Hook's arms? Response, yeah, he didn't drop the bowl. Response, it's because it was stolen from the movie Oliver. They had to cut it. Response, it's just a cut scene, but when they are allowed to use the scene because it isn't exactly the same. Response, could you check out my Peter Pan movie?
Was that Levi Miller?
Great if it was.
Levi Miller's got his YouTube account and he's like, please, anyone, I need to get a sequel.
This next comment is by a pessimistic guy. Unnecessarily dark and mature remake / prequel of a beloved children's classic. How original, an unimpressed emoticon face. Response, doesn't look dark to me. 8/. I can tell you one thing that needed to be darker though, Tiger Lily.
Yeah. Oh!
Again.
Oh, that one only just sunk in.
2 more. I bet Tinkerbell is Peter's mom. And then they have a quote. I promise that you'll see me again in this world or another. Response, OMG, what an interesting thought.
Oh, okay, I was expecting something nasty.
And here's the final one of the bunch. Don't look, Ryan. This is too anachronistic for a film like Pan. The song wasn't written until the 90s, and this takes place in the late 30s or early 40s. How did Blackbeard first hear it? Are we supposed to believe that he composed it? The song might have worked if Pan was a quirky musical. Open brackets, and Ryan, calm down, take a deep breath. Take, for example, Moulin Rouge.
Oh, fuck!
No, I said take a deep breath. An excellent film in which this very song was featured near the beginning. Close bracket. But it just felt out of place here. Open bracket. As did many aspects of the film. Close bracket. Too bad, as I had high hopes for Pan. Response number 1. And I like to consider these responses like the 3 wise men. Like coming in to give their responses.
The wise man.
So, wise man number 1. Well, he says he fetched the kids from all eras. Maybe he can go back and forth between them. Wise man number 2. Well, in A Knight's Tale, which takes place during the Middle Ages, they sang We Will Rock You. Response number 3. Nigga, that was a flying ship! Calm the fuck down! Like, shit, you're bitching about a song, but not a flying ship, the fuck? And that's it.
I like wise man number 3. He gets it. He gets it.
Well, thank you guys for listening. 2017. New year, new episodes, hopefully, and new unappreciated masterpieces to delve into. Pan being the jumping off point, and what a one to jump off with. A movie that is encapsulates everything, doesn't it? It is in itself magical.
We can call it the diving board of 2017, but I think plank would be more...
Well, it's the plank that we get kicked off of into the sea of unappreciated masterpieces.
Think happy thoughts, Ryan.
Huh? Think happy thoughts, everyone.
Or have happy feelings.
Have happy thoughts. It's thoughts.
Yeah.
Kate, wonderful to have you on. Whether you will appear again will be unknown. It will be in the giant sea of unappreciated masterpieces and time. Bartek, always a pleasure to have you on as my other host. We are both co-hosts, and it is both our...
Thanks for stuttering that.
Fuck you, I don't want you on. I'm going to host it by myself. Spit presents.
You should do it.
Do it.
No,
I'll watch.
Watch, will you?
From behind, yeah. I'll be like, go ahead, Ryan, go.
Just watching, that's commentating. Fuck, this is what we do. So, what I was trying to say was, I look forward to the year hosting this show with you. 2017 offers a lot of promise. Quite a lot of movies I've already got lined up and ready for us to do.
We've got plans.
I've got plans. So, you guys get your plans together for this upcoming year. Be kind to each other is the one that you should always be focusing on.
Let's have a, because this is the start of the year, we should probably make this ending part of the episode something, a comment about the upcoming year. Like, I don't know, let's take a guess. There are 12 months in the year. Why don't we take a guess which month will have the episode that, I don't know, that will be the best, maybe that slays us. What month do you think will have something magical for us?
April?
What do you think, Ryan?
April.
April?
Kate nailed it. April.
April?
So, thanks, April.
I'm gonna go May. I reckon May will do something.
I'm gonna go April.
Wait and see.
We'll have to wait and see.
At the end of
Hedge
the
your
year-
bets. I'll make a betting poll. At the end of the year, whoever wins, put your money on it, and the money still goes to us.
Yes, and it's a subjective topic anyway, so we can always just say that we're right.
Alright.
We can argue that, like, yeah, we were right, we were wrong.
Until next time, remember to April.
Remember to April, remember to May. May you April.
May the April be with you.
Shut the September up. That was a good pun. 10 out of 10 for me.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. Like in August.
When Easter is.
What?
You should have made it when Easter is.
Look,
For the nailing of Christ.
Oh, I November what you mean.
Goodbye, December.